Well, good morning. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're starting out the morning with some more fog, and a dense fog advisory has just been issued by the National Weather Service this morning. Our high temps later on today, 83 degrees in the sunshine. We've got more coming up right after the news. A solemn procession at the Vatican this morning as the body of Pope Francis was taken from a chapel and brought into St. Peter's Basilica. It's the start of a period of public viewing.
The Pope will now lie in state in an open casket for 3 days as Catholics from around the world pay respect. New details are emerging about his final hours before taking one final ride in the Pope Mobile on Easter Sunday. The Vatican says Francis hesitated, asking his personal nurse, "Do you think I can manage it?" When it was over, the Pope thanked his nurse for reassuring him that he could do it, saying, "Thank you for bringing me back to the square." He died just hours later.
ABC's Lionel Moisey reporting there from Vatican City. In the final day of their session, Tennessee lawmakers sparred over vaccines yesterday.
It is all of the ones that have come in to our country that are unvaccinated that are bringing these particular illnesses.
For you to stand up there and say that it's people coming in from other countries that are harming us, no, it's people in this country who don't have enough sense to go get the free vaccine to save their own lives. So don't blame someone coming in from another country.
That is Republican State Representative Michelle Carringer and Democrat Bo Mitchell there, as reported by Fox 17. In the end, the House did pass a bill that makes it illegal for TennCare doctors to refuse a patient just because they haven't taken a vaccine. Any vaccine. That bill will now move to the Senate. Also from the state legislature, a bill that could block education access to students in the country illegally fell apart over cost concerns. But bills banning DEI in local governments and colleges and another one that mandates more recess time for kids at school, they're both headed to the governor's desk for signing. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks rallied from Monday's losses. The Dow was up 1,016 points at close. The S&P 500 rose 129 points, and the Nasdaq gained 430 points. Better than anticipated profit reports from Equifax, 3M, and other companies helped boost stocks, and the value of the dollar stabilized after sliding against the euro. After the close, Tesla released its earnings report, missing analysts' expectations. A group of Democratic lawmakers are asking the Treasury Department not to end the IRS's direct file program. The electronic system allowed taxpayers to file tax returns directly to the agency for free. Treasury says it has not made a decision about the program's future. The International Monetary Fund said it expects the global economy to grow just 2.8% this year. That's down from its January forecast of 3.3%. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Well, stock futures this morning look really good for a second day in a row. The Dow futures are up 619 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 438. The S&P futures are plus 107. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
All right, KGB, is this thing working? Yes or no? So, all right, KGB is giving me the thumbs up. So apparently we are working today, which means that I've got to turn on my beauty lights. Going to have Brian Wilson on today at 7. I'm really looking forward to this one segment where the soundbite that I'm going to drive people nuts with. Hey, KGB, if I play this, can people hear it off my board? I'm going to drive you folks nuts with. What the I'm going to play that like over and over and over again. All right, I'm done. All right. Places, everybody, places. It's showtime. See you in a few.
Once again, we have some fog that's settling in the area this morning, so careful as you're driving this morning. In Davidson County, it's a crash, 21st Avenue at Wedgwood Avenue. That's Vandy. It's an injury crash there. Joelton 24, the eastbound side past Whites Creek Pike, a crash that blocks the right lane, and a stalled out vehicle in West End this morning, I-440 westbound. That's the off-ramp to westbound I-40. It's blocking the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Welcome on into a hump day. It is April 23rd of 2025, and we've got a lot going on this morning. The future's looking good. We might have the possibility of 2 up days in a row. We'll have to wait and see what happens. There is a lot going on. I love this story, and I just found it. This is the headline. And, Joan, I think you'll appreciate this headline, too.
Yeah, what is it?
From Town Hall, Democrats can go to El Salvador on the GOP dime on one condition. So basically what the Republicans are saying is that, listen, if you Democrats in the House, if you want to go to El Salvador and you want to hang out with MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia, you go right on ahead and you do that. You got to live stream it, though, so that all of America can see that you are hanging out with an MS-13 gang member. You know, it was interesting.
And film all of it. They said every minute of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of what I love about this, you know, the photos with Senator Chris Van Hollen out of Maryland, we talked about that ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Sitting there with Abrego Garcia. What I found particularly interesting about that is that both sides desperately wanted that photo. And that tells you how far apart Republicans and Democrats are on this thing. The Democrats desperately wanted that photo. Can I tell you, I don't know why they wanted that photo. Like,
isn't that weird?
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
You would think that somebody within the Democrat Party would say, you know, it's possible that this could backfire on us big time. And it has.
There's nobody thinking in advance, like, okay, so if we do this, then this. Who's doing the thinking
Right.
in these circles? I don't understand.
Well, and here's the other thing that they're missing is that they're not thinking like Donald Trump does. The Democrats don't think 2 or 3 steps ahead. So, for example, the senator goes to El Salvador demanding to see Abrego Garcia. And then what do we find out? I think it was the day he was there or the day before he was there, whatever. But they had already jumped in, you know, both feet, hands, everything into the Abrego Garcia storyline and trying to, you know, say that Donald Trump was wrong to deport this Maryland man. And then we find out that he was a wife beater. We find out that he was a human trafficker as well. But nobody in the Democrat Party. This, Joan, this goes right back to what we always say about the TDSers, those that are infused with Trump derangement syndrome.
Right.
Where it's like, it's always so knee-jerk. They have these knee-jerk reactions. And when they have these knee-jerk reactions, they don't think. It's just, we've got to be the opposite of Donald Trump. So, and I remember talking about this, I don't know, whenever this whole thing started. And it's like, okay, Democrats, what could go wrong? And so the more that we find out about this guy, all of a sudden the Democrats were like, well, it's not really about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. It's about due process. And, you know, before you know it, I mean, what was it, yesterday? We were talking about, I don't even remember who it was, but somebody said, oh, Simone Sanders. on MSNBC said, "Oh, you know what's next? They're going to start deporting black people." Remember
know.
that? It's like, oh
where
my
do they come
Lord,
up with this?
do you hear yourself?
Yeah. It's like that notion of they're going to, if you've got tattoos, they're going to take you right off the street and put you in a van and take you away.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that's why I absolutely love this story, where you have the Republicans and they're saying, all right, you know what, if you want to go to El Salvador, if you want to hang out with your, poster boy of good behavior, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, then please, you go right on ahead and you do that. You're going to live stream. We're going to film it. We're going to take pictures. You want to hang out with an MS-13 gang member who is, it seems to me, a proven human trafficker and also a wife beater that is also proven, then by all means, let's go and let's jump in with both sides. So the Republicans, they love the picture of Van Hollen with Abrego Garcia, and so do the Democrats. And they are so on the losing side of all of this. So I like how the Republicans are handling this. I really do. Now, did you hear Tim Pool yesterday, Joan? Just real quick.
I didn't listen to him yesterday.
Do you know who Tim Pool is?
Oh yeah.
Tim Pool is one of the big podcasters out there. Need some audio, KGB. And this is funny. This is funny because he was in the special new media seat yesterday, and this was his question. This was his question to Caroline Leavitt in the White House press briefing, as he is in front of all the other media. You're talking about the New York Times, CNN, the Washington Post, etc.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on the unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
So he's calling them out in front of them.
In front of them. I love it.
I know. I saw this and I thought, oh my goodness, that is amazing. And equally as amazing was Caroline Leavitt's answer, and she played it straight.
Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here, and there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome all viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy, and you rightfully pointed out the Maryland Man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it, on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong, and we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community. Yep. And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland. This was and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designated foreign terrorist, and the administration maintains our position to deport these individuals from our community. So thank you for being here, Tim. It's great to see you.
There you go. I love the answer. And by the way, she is absolutely right.
A Maryland man thought to be wrongly deported.
Maryland man Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
A Maryland man wrongfully deported.
I got like a 5-minute montage.
Mistakenly deported.
The Maryland man.
Of the media. Maryland man, Maryland man, Maryland man, Maryland man. I mean, Tim Pool is absolutely right.
They're not even trying to bring back a Maryland man.
He's a Maryland man.
Maryland man.
We talk about your favorite media hoaxes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, and I don't have them all in in front of me, but I mean, Maryland Man is definitely going to be one of those hoaxes where people talk about, you had Russian collusion. That was a media hoax. Of course, now you have Maryland Man. Remind me some of the other media hoaxes that are out there.
I love the one that he mentioned, the Covington school kids.
The Covington school kids was another one.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. There has been so many different media hoaxes and
very fine people on both sides.
Oh my God, that one,
the upside down Bible.
Yeah. The one with fine people on both sides. That one is of particular interest to me because number one, I was actually doing a talk show on WMAL in Washington D.C. when all that was going down. And I remember watching that. I'm thinking on that day, I was thinking, I don't understand. They're taking his entire speech and whittling it down into just this one or two lines.
Yeah.
And I recognized immediately that Trump was being taken way out of context. And these days now, you still, believe it or not, have people on the left that
yes, they do.
That still talk about how Trump said there's fine people on both sides, even though even Snopes has said that was a media hoax.
And so while I was in D.C. at that time as well, and I asked my bosses at the time, hey, we need to play what comes after when he's saying that because it's the fuller context of what he's saying. And their response was, well, we can't do that because this is what everyone else is playing. So
wow,
we just can't do that.
That is so stunning.
It was stunning. So many things. I mean, just the craziness in D.C. It's incredible. Let me ask you a question, though. You know the story about how the Maryland man and how he was, what do they say about him? He was wrongly deported. Or mistakenly deported. Did that come from the lawyer that had worked for the Department of Justice who said that and then was fired immediately afterwards?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think it was. I think it was his mistake. He didn't defend the country well, and Pam Bondi said he had to go because he wasn't in line. He didn't get the
message right.
Yeah.
He didn't get the message right. So, yeah, I don't know if it's the same guy, but I think for all intents and purposes, who looks good and who looks bad in this story? I think obviously the media
man thought to be wrongly deported
looks really bad. I think the Democrats look really bad.
Yeah.
I got a question.
I think Trump looks really good. Yes, KGB.
How do they know he's a man? Did he identify as a man yet?
Oh, that's a great point.
In El Salvador.
Because this is very transphobic if that's the case. I'm offended.
Maryland.
I'm moving right along. Have we done traffic? We have not done traffic.
You've been
having fun with the Maryland man.
Yeah, we have a new superhero called Maryland Man that is being
Oh my
recorded.
goodness, that's funny. All right, we got to do the traffic real quick on WTN.
So it is a crash in Whites Creek this morning, 24 the eastbound lanes before Clay Lake Road overpass. It's stop and go traffic up to that point. There's a right lane blocked off by it as well. And then in West End, a stalled out car on I-440 westbound at the off-ramp to westbound I-40 is blocking one of the lanes on the off-ramp as well. And some fog this morning. Be careful driving. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 519. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As far as your weather today, 82 degrees and possible thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. The TV side of us is working. The video stream is working this morning. I guess they fixed it, Joan, right after we got off the air yesterday. So we've got the Daily Dan poll that is up right now.
Yeah.
I like the Daily Dan poll today. Some I don't like, others I do like. Today's Daily Dan poll is, what grade would you give Donald Trump thus far? An A, a B, a C, a D, or do we have enough room for an F?
D or F is the same because we only have 4 spots.
Okay. All right. So, and I don't want to lead the witnesses. So I'm going to withhold. I'm going to withhold what my grade for Donald Trump would be until we
Objection, leading the witness.
until we get into the 8:35. But I do want to know what people think or how people believe Donald Trump is doing.
Well, would you like to guess? Like, what do you think that people are thinking before I
Yeah,
give
I
you the
know.
answer?
Everybody's going to say an A, right?
All right, okay, what do you think of the percentage of A?
Joan, you go first.
I give it 60%.
Okay. Really? That's pretty low.
I think she can see the computer. I'm not sure.
I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there, KGB.
Joan got it on the head.
Oh.
It's 60% right now.
60%
Yeah,
is giving
I'm
Donald
good at
Trump
these
an
things.
A.
33% is B, 4% C, 2% D or F.
The hate listeners checking in this morning. How to tell me you're a hate listener without actually saying you're a hate listener.
Right.
All right, very good. It is 5:21 on Nashville's Morning News. So, yes, watch us on YouTube, X, 997WTN.com, Facebook as well. And appreciate you listening and watching. And Joan has the news at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, so coming up, the Supreme Court tilts toward parents' rights in arguments over LGBTQ story time. Also, Jelly Roll may be about to get a pardon from Governor Bill Lee. Got those stories and more coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
start packing. 527.
Don't spoil your read yet.
Nashville's morning. I'm making fun of the lady.
I know.
527, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7. WTN. Like and subscribe to the YouTube feed, and you can also do chats and all that kind of thing. People apparently, Joan, on the YouTube chat are accusing me of having too much slippery elm already this morning.
Well,
I'm not entirely certain why, though, because am I showing the symptoms of too much slippery elm? And I don't know what those symptoms would actually be.
I think you sounded like you needed this slippery elm this morning.
Do I sound a little scratchy?
Not scratchy, like, you know how your voice sometimes cuts out a little bit?
Yeah.
I hear that.
No, my voice doesn't cut out a little bit. My voice cuts out a lot of it, actually.
Yeah. And it happens at the worst time.
Okay, can we just... Is this what we're going to do today?
Yes.
You asked.
Talk about
Did
my
you ask?
shortcomings? Is that what we're going to do?
You asked us. We had to give you our honest opinion.
Are you wearing a hat today?
I am wearing a hat today.
Because for 2 days you didn't wear a hat.
And you wore a button-up.
Yeah, and a button-up. So we were wondering, like,
Crazy.
something's going on.
Well, first of all, I had a highfalutin meeting with the highfalutin people downstairs yesterday after the broadcast.
Janitorial staff?
That was good. That was really good.
Anyway, so moving on from there, and
Golf
so
clap for Jen. Go for Joan.
I'm now that's Joan, not Jen.
You said her name wrong way more than I have. That's the first time I did it.
Whatever. Anyway, so we do have a lot going on. By the way, you know what we're going to talk about at 5:35? I cannot wait for this. Cringe Jean-Pierre is making a triumphant return.
Oh, no.
Have you heard what her new gig is?
No.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to talk about that at 5:35 or so.
But I would invite people to write in what they think her new job would be.
Is she, oh, God. Is it like NBC?
We'll find out.
Oh, God.
We'll find out coming up. Also, I'm really looking forward to this story as well. Yeah.
Was that her?
No, this is not Cringe Jean-Pierre. This is actually a friend of a woman who did something absolutely baffling in a New York cab. And it's really interesting. I love this story for so many different reasons. And it's got some great audio. Just, you got to trust me on this. I believe it's going to be a lot of fun and a great story. And I'm really interested in Joan's opinion and KGB's opinion on this story about what happened in a New York cab. All of that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 5:29 on Nashville's Morning News. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. A lot of people are chiming in on the super text line as well. Kenny is going to give Donald Trump a B+, 2008. A B because he is doing great, but his team is slacking. And a lot more. Next, hey, Joan, you know what we're gonna do next?
What are we gonna do next?
We're gonna have people start grading KGB's performance thus far.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then they'll do mine, and of course, that would get pretty ugly. It's 5:30 on WTN.
Good morning, 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A dense fog advisory for the Nashville area this morning. Careful as you're driving. We've got more in traffic just ahead. The Supreme Court appears ready to affirm parents' religious liberties after hearings yesterday over a Maryland county that removed parents' rights to opt out of an elementary school classes that use LGBTQ storybooks.
It does seem at the end of the day that these parents from Montgomery County will get what they're asking for, and that is a right to pull their kids from class because of their faith, and it could have far-reaching ramifications nationwide.
ABC's Devin Dwyer reporting there. 3 Smyrna middle schoolers are facing felony charges after bringing a lighter to school and setting fire to a piece of paper during class last week. The fire ignited a bookshelf. The students are charged with aggravated arson, false reporting, and 20 counts of reckless endangerment. Meantime, Metro Nashville schools say they are now in compliance with President Trump's executive order to remove DEI from schools. MMPS has changed the name of its DEI office and the title for its executive officer of DEI. But it appears the mission remains the same. It's not clear if those changes will satisfy the president's demand and therefore allow schools to keep their federal funding. And the Tennessee Parole Board recommending a full pardon for country music star Jelly Roll on the recommendation of Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall.
He was first arrested at the age of 16 years old for aggravated robbery. He was then in and out of jail and prison for years on different charges. Jelly Roll has been open and honest about his criminal history. He's also used his platform to advocate for and educate others in similar situations.
Channel 4's Alexandria Adams there. The pardon will be up to Governor Bill Lee to approve. That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. 24, the eastbound lanes in Whites Creek this morning. There is a crash right at the Clay Lick Road overpass, and the right lane is blocked off by it. Traffic is stop and go up to that spot already this morning. Otherwise, on 24, 65 and 40 looking pretty good this morning, but you just need to be aware that there could be some fog as you make your way in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm here. 5:36.
That's how you open.
Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. You know what? I'm watching this video.
Present.
And it is so incredibly funny. So I'm gonna post this. You can follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. You guys want to hear something really funny? This is a Joni there.
Yeah, I'm here.
This is a
present.
This is a fake ad, right? Apparently the Senate Republicans have put this together, and this is a fake ad for the Democrats.
Welcome to El Salvador, home to breathtaking sunsets, world-class surf breaks, and gangbanger Kilmer Abrego Garcia. El Salvador is the destination for Democrats seeking the thrill of bringing violent, criminal, illegal aliens back to America. Come witness Trump derangement syndrome in its purest form. From Chris Van Hollen to Cory Booker. You may even see John Ossoff. So what are you waiting for, Senate Democrats? Join your colleagues and step into the rhythm of rescue today.
There you go. Well done. And you've got photos of Van Hollen with Abrego Garcia, and you've got images of El Salvador and all these other things. Very funny. And I love, and we started out the show. I'm not gonna spend any more time on this right now, but we started out the show, if you're just joining us, with the GOP in the House of Representatives, Republicans in the House of Representatives saying to the Democrats, listen, if you want to go see Kilmer Abrego Garcia, go ahead, make our day, but you have to live stream it and film it and just make sure that we are able to get as much publicity and images and video as possible of you sitting down and having margaritas with Kilmer Abrego Garcia. You know what my question would be? The people of Maryland. I'm going to ask you this, Joan, because you used to live in Maryland. Mm-hmm. So if your average Marylander wanted to sit down and have a margarita with Van Hollen, would they be able to do so?
You can't even get him. He actually was my senator. So you can't even get him on the phone. You can call and you can leave a message with one of his aides, but you can't talk to him.
Of course not.
Yeah. No, there's no chance that you can talk to him, let alone have a margarita with him.
Okay. So you want to do Cringe Jean-Pierre first?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right. So
The return
of Cringe Jean-Pierre. You know what she's going to be doing? Now, everyone knows that she is I'm going to air quote all this, the first openly LGBTQ press secretary to a president during her stint from 2022 until the end of Biden's term.
Well, they couldn't fire her because it would have been discrimination.
That's exactly right. She is going to be the Grand Marshal of the New York City Pride Parade.
What? And she probably gets 6 figures for it.
I don't think, do you get paid to do that? To be the Grand Marshal of a parade? I've never been a Grand Marshal.
You or I wouldn't get paid, but she
there's
probably would.
Well, I mean, with these people that work in politics, there's money under the table that we don't know about.
Do you know what's crazy about this? Is that Trump has been in office for a couple of months. Don't you think that she would have had actually an actual gig by now?
Yeah.
Corinne Jean-Pierre?
I mean, how fast did Jen Psaki get one? It was like immediate.
She left to take a job.
She left to take a job. And, I mean, Corinne Jean-Pierre, here's the problem that she has, and then I'm going to move on. The problem she has is that she is the poster child for DEI. Isn't she?
Yes.
Black, gay, and she was literally given the job because she hit those two boxes, gay and black.
Do you remember when she said, what was it? She said that she checks off 3 important boxes but named 4, or was it the other way around?
I don't know.
Yeah. Does anybody else like imagine her leading the parade like with boots on and
like a marching outfit?
Sort of like the color guard.
Wouldn't surprise me.
With the flag.
And in tribute to Biden, she would trip and fall.
I bet you there's a lot of people within that community who are like, yeah, she was a train wreck. She doesn't represent us. I wonder, because she was a terrible press secretary for many different reasons, but moving on. All right. Now, this is my favorite news story of the day. There is, and you can see this, follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. You can see this video. There is a woman, a former sorority girl. You know what she did? She is in a taxi cab in New York City, and they're stopped at a red light, and her taxi cab driver is Muslim, and he starts praying as they're sitting at a red light. And you know what she does, Joan? She pepper sprays him.
Right.
She is within inches of his face, and she's pepper spraying him.
Jen, what the Jen!
At this point, she's in the passenger seat. Her hand is within inches of his face.
What are you doing now? What are you doing now? What are you doing? What?
And the guy is just, why are you pepper spraying me? Why? And he can't get out of the car. Finally, he's able to get out of the car.
What the Okay. Take your stuff. Let's go. We have to go. We have to go.
Yeah, you do have to go. And so she was freaked out, obviously, because the guy is praying. He's Muslim, and the guy is praying at a red light. Now, I don't know if people are calling it racist that she pepper sprayed him.
Oh, they
or
are.
If she was legit freaked out because she was worried that dude's praying, and I think she was probably thinking that he was about ready to, her perception is that he was about to do something heinous. And so she decided to pepper spray him. Now, realize, they're at a red light.
Yeah.
She could have gotten out of the cab instead of pepper spraying the guy.
She went to the extreme.
I mean, she just gets right there.
So I was under the impression when I first watched this, I was so convinced that she was just like drunk. And how could you even possibly? She's pepper spray. She's holding his arm to keep him in the car and pepper spraying him.
Oh, man.
No,
she was going
take this.
crazy. Yeah, that's her friend in the backseat going, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah, her friend was actually trying to stop her.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice the part where she was holding his arm.
Yeah, she was trying to stop him from leaving.
Okay, so now...
Why don't you talk to Bonnie anymore? Well, I got a story for you.
So, but your opinion, Joan, is what on this?
So I started reading the comments, and I realized, well, she was thinking, oh my gosh, a lot of times before Muslims blow something up, like a car in an urban area, they will pray first, Allah Akbar, and all of that, and then blow their car up. And she thought that they were in the middle of that.
But see, here's the thing. And you're right. I get what you're saying. But in the time that it took her to pepper spray the dude, she could have gotten out of the car. But now I'm following where you're saying, which is, okay, so if she genuinely thinks that she is not only trying to save her life, but save the life of others
Of
by
others around
preventing
her.
a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Because if the cops had came and they looked inside the car and there was a bunch of explosives, well, then she would be a hero.
Justified. Absolutely. But they came and they found a couple of drunk girls standing on the side of the street. What the Yeah.
So this is the headline. You ready?
Yeah.
Former sorority girl who pepper sprayed Muslim New York City driver dodges prison for surprising reason. She's 24 years old. This is amazing. Manhattan College grad Jennifer Guilebalt.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So she admits, obviously it's all on camera, that she attacked driver Shohel Mahmood. Do you know that the cab driver, did not want her to go to prison?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, you know what? He said, I'm a religious person and I believe in forgiveness. He says, she's almost my kid's age, said Muhammad, a father of 3 from Elmhurst, Queens. After all, I believe in the judgment day. I have to stand in front of my God. That's the reason why I forgive her. If I forgive her, God will forgive me. He stood by his claim that Guilebelt was caught on camera saying she attacked him because of his skin color. But Manhattan prosecutors said they reviewed the driver's tape where he claims the comment was captured and that it is not clear enough to confirm that the woman made the comment. Guy is a native of Northbridge, Massachusetts. No, the woman. The woman is a native of...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that is such a Massachusetts way to act. I'm just kidding. I just ticked off everybody from Massachusetts.
From Philly to do that, right, Joan?
That's right.
You know what? That is far more of a Philly reaction.
Absolutely. But I have to say,
yep,
I was really taken by this because I really thought that this was just a couple of drunk girls, especially because the headline was former sorority girl, which completely maligns her.
Yeah.
And her effort was to stop. She really thought that she was in the middle of what would turn out to be a bombing.
So somewhere in that audio that I just played, supposedly there is a place where she says, he's brown.
Oh.
Supposedly that is somewhere in that audio. I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it.
But here's the thing. That doesn't jive because if she had a problem with his skin color, she wouldn't have gotten into the taxi cab or the Uber in the first place. Was it a taxi cab or an Uber? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have gotten in the first place if she didn't like, I'm air quoting here, brown people. I think she legit believed that she was preventing a terrorist attack.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the guy said, you know what, I'm not going to press, I don't want her to go to prison. I think that says a lot about him because she could have been hit for
yes.
I don't know about felony, but I would think that'd be a felony assault or something.
Yeah, it could be assault and battery. You cause bodily harm. That's definitely it could be a felony.
But again, here's the thing. She felt justified in doing it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she was right to do it. And he literally was not doing anything to threaten her or harm her. In his mind, he's just, praying. But again, I don't agree with it, but I do understand why she did what she did. So there you go. I want to know if she apologized to him. Have you heard if she apologized to the guy?
No. I know she had to do some alcohol counseling or something.
She had to go to
AA?
Yeah. Something like that.
Let's see here. So they also noted in court papers that the victim was okay with the no jail deal. As part of the plea deal, Guilebalt will have to complete her community service within a year and continue with therapy and anti-bias and alcohol abuse programs.
Yeah.
I don't know about the alcohol abuse, but maybe I don't know. There's obviously
if you're drunk,
how drunk was she though? Was she just obliterated or was she just tipsy? Because those are two very different things.
Well, if she if she perhaps blamed it on the alcohol.
Oh,
because alcohol.
I see what you're saying.
Alcohol does inhibit your. What does alcohol do to you, Joan? Does it cause you to make bad decisions? I mean, I was.
I think it becomes sort of uninhibited.
Uninhibited. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course,
You're
alcohol does
inebriated.
make you
loopy,
make bad decisions.
Yeah.
Your guard is let down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good Lord, when I get a little tipsy,
you hug people.
Like I saw you at the vineyard when you were tipsy then.
I did.
And you KGB, you're on target there. He hugged me.
I started hugging everybody, and you said,
That's
what you said.
Like, what's going on here?
That's what Joan said when I came in for a hug. She said, what the?
Yeah.
beep?
That's the first sign of the apocalypse right there. Dan hugs you. You better be go to a shelter.
You know what? When we were with the Weavers in Nashville over the weekend, actually, I was a little tipsy. And you know what I did? I went in for a hug with Weaver.
You did?
Yeah, and he said, what the beep? That's exactly what Ken
He
did.
punched you in self-defense.
No, he didn't. Anyway, that was fun.
No, I'm sorry, pepper spray.
All right. Is there a poll question in there? Because I'm curious.
About this situation. I think so. But
Yeah. What would the poll question be? Because I'm curious.
Do you think it was racism, or do you think she was justified?
People would have to watch it, though, in order to see it. I mean, it
Yeah.
really requires some setting up.
Yeah.
We can't just go up what we've been saying. But again, the guy sounds like a good dude, which is makes this so much worse because he sounds like just a straight up good guy.
All right. Very good. KGB and I were talking about Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
And the reasoning behind them pardoning Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
Do you agree with him being pardoned? He committed the crimes. So what's the point in him getting pardoned? Is it because he's done a lot of good for the community?
He has.
Jelly Roll has done. This dude.
Yeah.
Is.
I think that's more worthy of a poll question.
Did Jelly Roll all right? You want to change the?
Does he deserve to be pardoned?
Did Jelly Roll deserve to be pardoned? All right, should we do that?
Does our audience, our fans of Jelly Roll, do you think they even?
I think they know who Jelly Roll is, but you know,
should that be the poll? Do you know
you're
who
right.
Jelly Roll is?
Yeah.
Leave it to Trump. Leave it to Trump.
Yeah.
What grade would you give Donald Trump? And so far, how are the numbers?
65% A, 28% B, 3% C, 3% D, or F.
All right. By the way, I'm going to give you an F, KGB.
The heck did I
Please
do?
don't call listeners fans. That makes me feel so uncomfortable.
Did I say fans?
You did. I've told you specifically 3 times. Don't call listeners fans. It makes me ooged out. I don't.
Gosh,
Joan,
I'm
do you catch
so
that?
Sorry.
Do you feel weird when he says fans?
Right. Yeah. Oh, I get that.
Okay, good. It's not just me. There are friends. They're listeners.
That's oh my gosh.
What?
Friends. That's such brown nosing to the fans.
We're done. We're done. Joan?
We're done with you, KGB.
Good.
What grade would you give KGB? Anyway, moving right along.
People
Joan?
are giving me good grades, honestly, in the chat.
I give you a good
guys.
grade. You're very well liked. All right, Joan, what's coming up?
Well, Elon Musk is pivoting now to pay more attention to his Tesla company after a pretty bad earnings report. That's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here, 5:55. You know, you've probably been looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here. And it does make you think, well, that's not necessarily a place I want to go because a lot of these places, a lot of these dealers have bad reputations. Now, I'm here to tell you there is one place that you can go, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Now, they are different for a few simple reasons. They've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They are Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under $12,000. Now, if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, they got you. If you need a first car, maybe for a 16-year-old, they can help you there as well. Now, they've got a great reputation. Again, Nashville Road, I should say automartcars.com is their website. If you do need that car, you can go to these folks at Nolensville Road Auto Mart. They got one location Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Station. They'll get you in and out in about an hour or less. And the best part, they are the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville, and they will work with your own financing if you have it. Flexibility, transparency, honesty is why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. You can find them online. It is automartcars.com, automartcars.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A tough ride in this morning along 24, the eastbound side at Whites Creek. That's because you've got a crash there. The right shoulder now blocked off from it. It's pretty slow, too. The Tennessee legislative session has officially gavelled out, and some bills are now headed to the governor's desk for signing. That includes a bill that bans Glock switches.
Up to 1,200 rounds a minute. Glock switches turn regular pistols into virtual machine guns, a danger lawmakers have now tackled in Tennessee.
We don't need those in the state of Tennessee. We don't need them anywhere, frankly. So they're legal under federal law. We're going to make them illegal under state law as well.
A bill now headed to the governor's desk. It'll become a Class C felony now to own them, adding a heftier jail sentence for offenders.
That's Channel 4's Steve Mailing reporting. A bill that would deal with illegal immigrant children in Tennessee schools was tabled for the session over cost concerns. Elon Musk is stepping back a bit from his Doge responsibilities.
Elon Musk's role at the White House appears to be winding down. The Tesla CEO told investors he'll be stepping back from his role at the Department of Government Efficiency next month.
I think I'll continue to spend, a day or two per week on government matters.
Tesla profits plunged 71% in the first quarter of this year. The company acknowledging political sentiment likely played a role as Musk and his team worked to slash government spending and jobs. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
But realigning government will go on with a second round of buyouts at Social Security with the goal of eliminating 7,000 employees. They have until Friday to decide whether to take that buyout. And at the State Department, there's 700 jobs are being cut, and there's some closing of offices going on. That's an effort to eliminate what's called bloat. In Ocean County, New Jersey, a wildfire raging out of control through the Pinelands. That's a vast forest of pines in the center of the state. Thousands of residents have been evacuated.
No lights, no power, no gas stations open, convenience stores, everything's closed. There's cops on every corner. It's just a very eerie feeling.
Yeah, 8,500 acres have burned now. Heavy winds are fueling those flames. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Renewed hope among investors for a de-escalation of President Trump's tariffs fired a quadruple-digit surge for the Dow Jones Tuesday. The industrials added just over 1,000 points to close at 39,187. The Nasdaq and S&P gained over 2.5% each. Watch for a higher opening at the bell today. President Trump now says he has no intention of trying to fire the Fed chair. That sent stock futures higher overnight. Taking a cue from rival Netflix, streaming service Max is moving to crack down on password sharing. It's launched a feature called Extra Member Add-on, allowing one extra person outside the household to use Max for a monthly fee. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Looks like we may have a nice start on Wall Street this morning. The Dow futures are up 768 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
All right, everybody on the chat. Let's see here. Who was it? Dan's vacation must be getting closer. He's happy this morning. It's so funny. Actually, yeah, my vacation is getting closer. And yes, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going on a cruise. We haven't talked about this on the air, but we're going on a cruise. And I cannot wait for that. It's been a long year so far. Let's see here. JT said something I thought was interesting. And see, Joe Willie says Dan had to see the principal yesterday. Yep. JT says he gives, or she, KGB gets an A, Joan gets an A+, Dan gets an A-. He says, I would give him an A+, but he almost never answers my questions. So I want to know what questions JT has. Like, what is it you want to know, JT? I'll answer any question. Well, almost any. Maybe I'll answer your question. Let's see here. There's a pretty good debate over Jelly Roll and whether or not he should have been pardoned. I thought that was good. And also whether or not the woman was right in bouncing the guy. Are you talking to me? Oh. Joan for traffic. All right, JT, let me know what your question is, and I'll answer it. Do it on the chat.
Got a crash on 24. This is eastbound in Whites Creek. Tough ride in there this morning. The crash is blocking off the right shoulder just before the Clay Lick Road overpass. That accident had been in the right lane, so that at least we know they're working on it this morning. Things will get better. Also, you've got some fog. It is settling in some areas. The National Weather Service issuing a dense fog advisory for parts of the area this morning. Careful as you're traveling in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, welcome on in to your Wednesday, April 23rd. Joan, real quick, how are the futures doing? You probably just mentioned them, but I want to hear.
It's purdy this morning. Yeah,
Good.
the Dow futures are up 777. I feel like that's a good sign.
That is a very good sign, especially after yesterday was up, over 1,000,
Over
right?
1,000 yesterday, yeah. And all of this, allegedly, is because President Trump said
607.
he's not going to get rid of the Fed chair.
Yes, he's not going to get rid of the Fed chair. Jerome Powell.
Yeah.
And also Scott Bessent is out there saying that they are working, they're going to work with China. They're trying to de-escalate what's going on. Basically, what we're seeing is the market reacting to things that Donald Trump has said and what the Trump administration has said and is doing and is going to do. And so now the market is looking good. I know some people that, I'm going to air quote this, bought the dip.
Yes.
They are very excited.
Yes.
That they bought the dip.
Yeah.
So, real quick, latest on China, the tariffs, also a big threat to America from China. So I've got a lot in this segment. Let's get right to it as we are watching the futures shaping up to be hopefully a second good day for the markets. A big story in the Wall Street Journal this morning about Chinese scientists in America. That's right. The headline is Chinese scientists in America come under new wave of suspicion. Now, you know exactly where this is going, right? Because we know that there's all kinds of spying going on via China. We also know about the theft of intellectual property. China has not exactly endeared itself to America. They profiled a guy, again, this is in the Wall Street Journal. They profiled a guy named Xiaofeng Wang and his wife, Niali Ma. Now, both lost their jobs with universities in the state of Indiana because of their collaborations with China. Now, both were Chinese citizens with permanent residency in America. Their terminations, the Wall Street Journal reports, has sent a familiar chill through the community of Chinese scientists in America. This is how the Wall Street Journal puts it. Geopolitical competition has eroded once thriving scientific collaboration between the U.S. and China. In Washington, there is intensifying bipartisan concern over Chinese theft of American intellectual property. U.S. federal courts in recent years have convicted several individuals of Chinese origin for stealing trade secrets from American companies. Beijing, meanwhile, is pursuing an aggressive campaign to delete America, that's a quote, delete America from its tech ecosystem and nurture homegrown innovation. So let's face it, and I've been harping on this for years, folks, but now there's a lot of questions being asked regarding China. One was asked,
over 250,000 Chinese nationals in our country right now on student visas. Does the administration believe there's any national security concern when it comes to those over 250,000 Chinese nationals in our country?
All right, so that was the question that was being asked, and it is a fair question. of Caroline Leavitt. Look at everything that's going on right now via China. China, again, stolen our intellectual property. We are, of course, again, stuck in a trade war. They spy on us. Everybody knows that. And, of course, there is always the COVID angle as well. And don't get me started on China buying our farmland. So that's the question. And, again, it is a legit question. How do we know, with all of these Chinese nationals in our country, how do we know who is a spy and who is stealing our intellectual property and who isn't?
As you know, when it comes to foreign visas, the Secretary of State has the right to revoke visas of those who we feel are acting in a adversarial way to our foreign policy interests here in the United States. He has that authority according to the Immigration and Nationality Act. So I would defer you to the State Department for any individual case, but they are looking at individuals who are given the privilege of being on a visa in our country. And if they are acting, again, adversarial to our foreign policy interests, their visa can be revoked. And they should be aware of that.
All right. Now, you heard her mention Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. He's been screaming about China for years now. Remember, Marco Rubio was part of the Senate Intelligence Committee, so he knows all about China. I want you to think, though, about, because everybody is so focused on the tariff war with China, but we've really been engaged in a war on a different level with China for a long time. Whether we are talking about the military, whether we're talking about espionage and all of the things that I just mentioned. But a couple, real quick, and I reported all of these to you right here on WTN. Do you remember way back in 2020, a Chinese national was convicted of being found on the grounds of Mar-a-Lago and taking pictures? That was during Donald Trump's first presidency. In another incident, 3 Chinese nationals were sentenced to a year in prison for entering a restricted area at the naval station in Key West. Nothing to see here, just a bunch of Chinese nationals trespassing and taking pictures. In 2019, another one was arrested for unlawfully entering Mar-a-Lago, again, and lying to federal agents. And so the point is that for years and years, we in America have allowed these folks into our country legally on visas and so forth. And yes, they have taken advantage of our hospitality. Now, that's not racist, friends. That's just a fact.
We welcome the Chinese Communist Party into the global order, and they took advantage of all of its benefits, and they ignored all of its obligations and responsibilities. Instead, they have repressed and lied and cheated and hacked and stolen their way into global superpower status, and they have done so at our expense and at the expense of the people of their own country.
Now, I think one of the reasons that Marco Rubio was chosen as Secretary of State is because of the fact that he does have a deep understanding of the threat to China. He has been talking about this for a long time. Now, I want you to think about what we rely on China for. I mean, let's be honest. It's almost everything. 99% of the toasters in America, China. Umbrellas, baby carriages, artificial flowers, video game consoles, smartphones, bikes, hair dryers, handbags, footwear, and, of course, our medicines as well. We literally rely on China for almost everything, and that's part of what Donald Trump is trying to stop.
If we stay on the road we're on right now, in less than 10 years, virtually everything that matters to us in life will depend on whether China will allow us to have it or not. Everything from the blood pressure medicine we take to what movies we get to watch, and everything in between, we will depend on China for it. They have come to dominate the critical mineral industry supplies throughout the world. Everywhere in the world, they've now established critical mineral rights. Even those who want to see more electric cars, no matter where you make them, those batteries are almost entirely dependent on the ability of the Chinese and the willingness of the Chinese Communist Party to produce it and export it to you. So if we don't change course, we are going to live in a world where much of what matters to us on a daily basis, from our security to our health, will be dependent on whether the Chinese allow us to have it or not. That's an unacceptable outcome.
I mean, he's absolutely right, and that's part of the tariff war. That's part of what Donald Trump has been saying for years, and Marco Rubio has been saying for years, is we allowed China to just run with it. And so now we are in this situation where the things that we enjoy and the things that we need are being built and manufactured by our enemy. And that's not smart. And that is part of the trade war, the tariff war, that really does deserve more attention. Now, we opened up this segment talking about how the market closed up over 1,000 yesterday. It's looking good this morning on the futures. Market opens here in a couple of hours. And so I cannot wait to see what the market's going to do today. There's been some interesting changing of the messaging from the Trump administration that is leading to the markets doing a lot better yesterday and today as well. And I know the reason why this is happening, and I'm going to talk about that straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News at 6:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. All righty, very good. As far as your weather for today, we've got possible thunderstorms. 82 is your high. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. You know, the other thing about China, real quick, is they do have this massive workforce. They've got low wages, in some case, slave labor as well. They've got the infrastructure and what some call unmatched efficiency. So there is that as well. And of course, they don't have a lot of regulations in China. So that's what makes this trade war so complicated. But it's been fascinating to watch all of this because the messaging from the Trump administration has been all over the place. This was Caroline Leavitt just a few days ago.
Look, the president has made his position on China quite clear, although I do have an additional statement that he just shared with me in the Oval Office. The ball is in China's court. China needs to make a deal with us. We don't have to make a deal with them. There's no difference between China and any other country except they are much larger. And China wants what we have, what every country wants, what we have, the American consumer. Or to put it another way, they need our money.
All right, so very tough talk on China. And so usually it's those kinds of combative statements from the Trump administration that will send the markets tanking. Well, then Trump in the Oval Office yesterday, he sounded a lot more conciliatory.
145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to that. We were talking about fentanyl, where various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero.
And as Trump is saying this, I mean, I guarantee you, if you had a graph that was tracking the markets in real time, as he is saying this, the markets are going up.
It used to be zero. We were just destroyed. China was taking us for a ride, and just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're going to be very good to China, have a great relationship with President Xi, but they would make billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and they would build their military out of the United States and what they made, so that won't happen. But they're going to do very well, and I think they're going to be happy, and I think we're going to live together very happily and ideally work together. So I think it's going to work out very well. But no, it's at 145%. It will not be anywhere near that number.
So definitely a change in tone. And basically Trump, at least as I'm interpreting that, he's saying all China has to do is come to the table. But yesterday, that was definitely a change in tone. Bottom line is Donald Trump knows that whatever is going to happen does need to happen, and it needs to happen quickly.
With China. Are you going to play hardball with them? Are you going to mention COVID?
Well, I'm not going to say. No, I'm not going to mention COVID. I'm not going to say, I'm going to play hardball with China. I'm going to play hardball with you, President Xi. No. We're going to be very nice. They're going to be very nice, and we'll see what happens. But ultimately, they have to make a deal because otherwise, they're not going to be able to deal in the United States.
Yeah, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he says that a deal is possible. Negotiations with China specifically has not yet started, but they've been negotiating with At last check, and I don't know, Joan, if you know what the number is, I've seen anywhere from 75 to 95 different countries have been negotiating already with the Trump administration, and you've got roughly 15 to 18 deals that are on the table.
I think that's roughly correct. Without definitive numbers from the White House, which we don't really get on this issue, I would say that we can assume that that's about right.
Yeah. And J.D. Vance, by the way, he was in India yesterday, another big priority country.
And finally, we want to partner with people and countries who recognize the historic nature of the moment we're in, of the need to come together and build something truly new, a system of global trade that is balanced, one that is open, and one that is stable and fair. Now, critics have attacked my president, President Trump, for starting a trade war in an effort to bring back the jobs of the past, but nothing could be further from the truth. He seeks to rebalance global trade so that America, with friends like India, can build a future worth having for all of our people together.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do, and we've been talking about this, but they're trying to prioritize the deals with India, with Japan, and also some of the other countries surrounding China, including South Korea and Vietnam, as key priorities. And so the market's reacting to some good news. Again, Scott Bessent saying 145% tariff on China. That's not sustainable, and that is not something that has been that is going to be going on for the long term. They'll eventually get to the table, and they'll hammer out some sort of an agreement. And again, the market's reacting. We'll keep you updated on the futures. We have another newscast coming up at 6:30 with Joan Jones, and I'm sure that she'll have the futures numbers and a whole lot more.
Oh, you bet I will. Also, the mystery behind a single car deadly crash in Brentwood this morning. And the leader of the World Economic Forum has stepped down in disgrace. Yes.
The World Economic Forum in disgrace?
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it, Donald Trump?
Yeah. So those stories and more coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.623, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here. And listen, if you've got a piece of your land, property that you don't know what to do with, my friends at Stoltzco, well, they've got the solution. They are the premier pole barn builders here in the state of Tennessee. Now, you know that putting up a pole barn from Stoltzco could increase the value of your land big time, and you can use it as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building. You can just live in your new pole barn from Stoltzco. We call those barn dominiums. The bottom line here is pole barns from Stoltzco, they're flexible, they're built really well, and you can basically use it for anything, including maybe your retirement home. Call them and tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Their phone number is 615-622-5992. Think about a pole barn from Stoltzco. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook. They've got great social media, and you can see examples of their incredibly amazing work from Stoltzco. Find them online, Stoltzco, Stoltzco, Stoltzco.com. 626, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. DT McCall's. Listen, if you need a lawnmower, as we are in the middle of spring, heading into summer, lots of rain, grass is going to grow. If you need a lawnmower, DT McCall's is helping you out. They are in the middle of their spring Cub Cadet mower sale. It is going on right now. It's going to end on April 26th. This is at their Cookeville location. Now, you should know that DT McCall & Sons, they are ranked as a top Cub Cadet dealer in the United States. And you know, the Cub Cadet mowers, they are amazing. You can find Cub Cadet riding mowers with 42 to 72-inch decks for those larger areas, and Cub Cadet walk-behind mowers as well for those smaller lots. And also, by the way, when you purchase a Cub Cadet mower from DT McCall's, you're going to be getting access to their in-house service department as well. You folks know it's nearly impossible to find mower service anywhere else. Now, they've got a large selection of Cub Cadet mowers. They've also got free delivery and an in-house service department as well. This really is an easy choice. If you need a mower, go to DT McCall's, their Cookeville location. They're in the middle of their spring Cub Cadet mower sale. More information, dtmccalls.com. All right, so it looks like we've got some breaking news, Joan, on Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Oh, really?
Yes, we do. You know, when I'm going to talk about it? Well, I literally, my friend Michael Patrick Leahy has just sent it to me.
So you have inside baseball going on here.
Well, you know, MPL and I are friends.
Uh-huh. Oh, MPL. So you're on a first initial
MPL.
basis.
Yeah,
Mhm.
MPL. And he calls me Dan because I'm Dan Angelo Mandis. Anyway, yes. The vehicle driven by Kilmar Abrego Garcia in 2022 Tennessee traffic stop was owned by an illegal alien who had pleaded guilty to human smuggling.
Ha! Oh, interesting.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
So maybe I'll try to see if he can come on today, Michael Patrick Leahy. All right, got to go. News is next on WTN.
Good morning. It is 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got to watch out for some fog this morning as you make your way into work. It may slow things down a bit. More on traffic and the weather right after the news. Tennessee State Legislature has ended its session for the year. Among the measures that have passed, a ban on Glock switches, more recess time for students, and the governor's budget, and a ban on DEI hiring in the state's government and colleges.
So those employers will no longer be able to consider race, ethnicity, or sex during the hiring process. Lawmakers behind the bill say they want to focus on merit-based hiring. Lawmakers also passed another bill that would unravel offices and programs that promote DEI. Critics have argued that this is a vast overreach.
That's WSMV's Amanda Hara. A woman in her 20s died in a single car crash in Brentwood early this morning. It happened at Old Hickory Boulevard near Oaks Road. Police say that car left the road and crashed into a tree. Detectives say there were no signs of impairment evident at the crash scene. The so-called doomsday mother convicted of helping to murder her own children has been convicted of a new crime, this time for the murder of her fourth husband.
Guilty is the verdict from the jurors in Maricopa County, Arizona. They were polled by the judge. They all said that, yes, that is what they agree with. That is what they decided on after about 6 hours of deliberating. She sat,
the so-called doomsday mother,
not showing a lot of emotion or long blonde hair. She walked in with a whole bunch of documents. She represented herself.
That's ABC's Alex Stone. The guy who founded the World Economic Forum is under investigation. Whistleblowers reported Klaus Schwab and his wife used WEF funds to pay for massages and personal travel. Other top executives have departed recently over accusations that women and black employees were discriminated against. Schwab has stepped down as the chair of the board of trustees. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here, and it is spring rebate madness time at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They got a lot of rebates. I'm going to run through them. A mini split 17 SEER or a heat pump 17 SEER. That is an $800 rebate. Again, Busy Bee, heat pumps, 15 and 16 SEER, that is a $500 rebate. And duct sealing or repair, that is a $300 rebate. The thing I love about Busy Bee, and I've been a client of theirs, a customer of theirs for years, is that they are always trying to save you money. Now, I am a Beehive member. You should be as well. Speaking of rebates, you join the Beehive Club today, you are going to get a $50 rebate on your spring and fall tune-up, and that means that you've already saved enough money to pay for the Beehive membership for the year. And yes, they'll even file those rebates so you don't have to. There's a ton of other benefits when you join that Beehive Club. I should know. I've been a member for years. Check them out online, busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. Find them online anytime, busybeehvac.com. $6.35, friends. Interest rates have plummeted. It is time to call my friends at Loan Pronto. Now, if you're looking to get cash out of your home equity, refinance out of maybe a high rate, or do a home improvement project, Loan Pronto can make it happen in a matter of days. Take advantage of this opportunity and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home's equity. You can pay off all your credit cards. You can pay off your car loans as well. You know, the average homeowner cuts their monthly bills by $1,000. Get more information at their website. It's loanpronto.com. Inflation and higher costs have put a lot of people in a stressful financial situation. But listen, if you own a home, there is a way out with my friends at Loan Pronto. It all starts by getting in contact with the experts. LoanPronto.com is the website. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780. That website, one more time. LoanPronto.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Still working that scene of an accident this morning on 65 in the northbound lanes. It's just past I-840 exit 59 with the accident blocking the left shoulder in this case. And we do have fog this morning, so careful. Most of it around and south of the I-40 area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in, and it is a very busy news day. Now, right before the news at the bottom of the hour, I was telling you something that Michael Patrick Leahy over the Tennessee Star just posted. A vehicle driven by Kilmar Abrego Garcia in 2022, and that traffic stop was owned by an illegal alien who had pleaded guilty to human smuggling. It doesn't get any better. And I started out the broadcast talking about this. It is now 6:37, but way back in the 5 o'clock hour. I love this story because it is so classic, and I love what the Republicans are doing. Basically, the Republicans are saying in the House of Representatives, if you want to go see Kilmar Abrego Garcia in El Salvador, please do. But you've got to live stream it. You've got to film it. We want as much publicity as possible. We'll even pay for you to go. I mean, I love that. And I know that a lot of you folks love that as well. There's also, and this is part of what I love about the news cycle today, and this is what I love about the Republicans right now, as I've said many times, is that I like how aggressive they are being, because the Republicans should be aggressive against the Democrats on this issue. And the Senate Republicans have now come out with a little ad specifically designed for the Democrats.
Welcome to El Salvador, home to breathtaking sunsets, world-class surf breaks, and gangbanger Kilmer Abrego Garcia. El Salvador is the destination for Democrats seeking the thrill of bringing violent criminal illegal aliens back to America. Come witness Trump derangement syndrome in its purest form. From Chris Van Hollen to Cory Booker. You may even see John Ossoff. So what are you waiting for, Senate Democrats? Join your colleagues and step into the rhythm of rescue today.
You can find that.
Welcome.
You can follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show, and I love that. I do. By the way, you know that there is a new Venezuelan gang terrorizing the streets of New York and by extension America at some point. That's right. You know what they're called? Anti-TDA. So these are guys who are sort of offshoots of Tren de Aragua, who, for whatever reason, they have left Tren de Aragua, probably because in New York, they're focusing on TDA. So now this is anti-TDA, which is almost what it is it is a splinter group from TDA. And so, I mean, it's you can stick a new name on them, but obviously they're still dirtbags. They're calling this new migrant gang ominous, and they have hit the streets of New York. This is New York Mayor Eric Adams, who is in the news because he has been going out and going after Tren de Aragua, and he's been working with the Trump administration to try to get him off the streets of New York.
These indictments are accused of unbelievable criminal behavior. And they have been charged with firearm offenses, racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking conspiracy, alien importation conspiracy, and drug trafficking conspiracy. They were forcing women into sex trafficking, forcing them into sex trafficking.
Isn't that the whole point? Isn't that the whole point of that little ad that the Republicans had for the Democrats about going to see Kilmar Abrego Garcia and by extension siding with the gang members? And he had, I like this, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, he had some words, by the way, for his fellow Democrats.
Let me tell you something. I won't have a tequila drink with a gang member. I won't be hanging out with them and hugging them, acting like they are victims. They are not victims. They create victims by their actions.
Absolutely. He is absolutely right. Do you know a judge now has actually blocked Eric Adams from working with ICE to get these bad guys off of the streets of New York? I mean, it is so stunning to me that there are judges that are doing this. A judge on Monday temporarily blocked New York City Mayor Eric Adams from permitting Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, to establish an office on Rikers Island. New York State Supreme Court Justice Mary Rosado said city officials should halt any efforts towards negotiating, signing, or implementing any memoranda of understanding with the federal government regarding federal law enforcement presence on Department of Correction property. You know, there's part of me, and I do feel like for the Republicans, it's like the phrase that pays on this Wednesday should be, go ahead, make my day. As in, keep going down this road, Democrats, keep going down this road, because it is only going to lead to your peril. And so when I played this earlier, you know, the behavior of the media and the left on this story has been atrocious. So yesterday, we had a great montage of the media calling Kilmar Abrego Garcia just a Maryland man.
A Maryland man thought to be wrongly deported.
Maryland man Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
A Maryland man wrongfully deported.
A Maryland man who was mistaken.
I could have made probably a 10-minute montage of the media calling this guy a Maryland man, when in reality, clearly, obviously, he is far more than a Maryland man. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and if you're following the breaking news from the Tennessee Star this morning, this Maryland man was stopped here in the state of Tennessee in a car that was owned by a guy who has been convicted of trafficking. So now is he still, according to the folks on the left and in the media, is he still going to be considered just a Maryland man? I love how the Republicans are playing this. Now, yesterday, and we were talking about this earlier, there was a moment, and I want you to put this in the proper context. As all of us on talk radio, I mean, I believe every single one on WTN, I don't get to listen to everybody all the time, but I'm sure that every one of us on WTN has mocked the media for their incessant
case of a Maryland man.
Calling this guy a Maryland man. But yesterday, I love this moment where Tim Pool, now if you don't know who Tim Pool is, he is one of the more well-known podcasters, and he was in the White House press briefing yesterday in the new media seat. And I love what he did, because he put the mainstream media, the progressive media, the media that is infused with Trump derangement syndrome in their place in front of them yesterday. I've got that audio for you straight ahead, 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, 82 degrees is going to be your high, and possible thunderstorms. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Do you know what it seems like here in America? It seems like here in America, there are a couple of different groups of people. There's the media and the Democrats, and then there's the rest of us that have common sense. That's what it seems like to me. Because you have the Democrats and the media calling Kilmar Abrego Garcia a Maryland man. They're going to see this guy. You've got Max Frost, a Democrat. You've got other Democrats, including Senator Chris Van Hollen, sitting down and having margaritas with this dude. And that's why the Republicans said, if you want us, House Democrats, to pay for this trip to El Salvador, we'll gladly pay for it as long as we get as much imagery as possible. The American people know what's going on with MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We know what's going on. Just like we knew that Joe Biden was not fit for office. Just like we knew that Donald Trump did not call white supremacists very fine people. I mean, I could start going down all of the different media hoaxes, but I love what Tim Pool did yesterday. Tim Pool, again, one of the biggest podcasters out there, he absolutely slam dunked on the media in the White House press briefing room. Listen.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on the unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Yep. And he's absolutely right. Tim Pool is absolutely right in his question to Caroline Leavitt to throw them under the bus. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of really angry members of the mainstream media yesterday as he was asking that question. And by the way, Tim Pool, this is a guy who has millions of people that watch his podcast, far more than CNN and MSNBC combined. You could probably throw in a lot of the mainstream media as well on that. So he knows, Tim Pool knows, that he is doing incredible work on his podcast. And this is how Caroline Leavitt answered that question.
Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here. And there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome all viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy. And you rightfully pointed out the Maryland Man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong. And we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community.
Yep.
And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland. This was and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designated foreign terrorist. And the administration maintains our position to deport these individuals from our community. So thank you for being here, Tim. It's great to see you. Thank you.
So that is Caroline Leavitt.
I got a question. Did he wear his beanie to the press conference?
Yes, he did.
That's my one thing. I'm like, could you just, come on, one day without it?
So here's the other thing. But he was dressed very nicely. Here's the other thing, though, as we talk about the media on this story. You know, the left is saying that this guy is a Maryland man, which is how they're going to continue to do this. But part of that conversation has to be that they now realize they are on the losing end of this American debate over Kilmar Abrego Garcia. You know what the worry is about Tren de Aragua and MS-13 and all of these gangbangers? Is that the left is saying that, this story is overblown. This story is not overblown. We do have these Venezuelan gangs in every single one of our states. And so it is not overblown, even though the left is trying to say it's being overblown. The foreign gangs, they are in every single state.
I've been sounding the alarm of the linkage between Tren de Aragua and the Maduro regime, which is the big cartel de los soles, or cartel of the suns. And that linkage is a national security threat to the United States. Also, let's not forget that Tren de Aragua's linkage to the Mexican cartels, a lot of them, obviously, because they came through Mexico, made contacts with these cartels that recruited them and helped them financially, because we know that they sell their drugs. We know that they participate in the illicit activities in the United States. And so let's not ignore that linkage as well.
Right. And that is right along the lines of what I've been telling you about the weaponized migration, where our enemies are working with Venezuela to bring in as many of these bad guys as they possibly can to destabilize America. That, by the way, is a guy named Victor Avila, who used to work with Homeland Security as an investigator. So he would know about this weaponized migration. He would know that politicians in Venezuela, what are they doing? They're actually sending them into our country to destabilize America. And that's why it is good that Donald Trump has closed the border.
I believe that Maduro knows exactly who they are, why they were released, a lot of them from prisons, a lot of them ex-military members, by the way, that were well-trained in weapons. And this is why the Mexican cartels loves them, because they are already well-trained. They're easy to be recruited. And a lot of them are very young in age, by the way. Don't be mistaken by being a 17, 16-year-old. Sometimes, you know, we tend to call them an unaccompanied minor, and sometimes we think that minor might be a 6-year-old. No, they're actually fall into that category, but they're 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds that are highly trained killers, criminals, and unfortunately, a lot of them have made their way into our country.
Yep, and all Donald Trump and his administration is trying to do is get them out and keep America safe. 6:52 on WTN, and you've got Joan Jones in the WTN newsroom. Joan, what's coming up?
Yeah, we're taking a look at those stock futures this morning that are going nicely higher. And the reason behind it, too, that's all coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.653 Nashville's Morning News. Tony from Cabinet Solutions is on the line. Tony, always great to have you on. I want to talk about the difference between your company, Cabinet Solutions, and some of these big box stores, because there is a huge difference between those two.
There really are. There's a significant difference in the design experience between our team of designers and that of a big box store. Because it's not always, but a great deal of the time, the cabinet designers get their start in box stores like that. But with Cabinet Solutions, you benefit from years of experience, and not only experience, but experience in a high-end custom field, because my business partner and I have decades of experience together in this. So quality designs are a standard at Cabinet Solutions.
Well, and the thing is, and I've dealt with the big box stores, for a lot of years, obviously. I've bought and sold and remodeled a whole bunch of homes. And the difference between them and you folks in Cabinet Solutions, you guys are redoing one of my upstairs bathrooms, is that there is a personalization to the process and to working with you folks, because you know what? You're a smaller company, and you can pay more attention to the customer and customer service.
Yeah, we don't just sit with you for 30 minutes in a big warehouse and think that we've captured your dreams and desires for your kitchen or bath, and then we get up and go fill in at the plumbing department because Bob didn't show up at work.
All right, Tony, listen, if you've got a bathroom, maybe a kitchen that needs to be remodeled and you need cabinets, they can do it for you. They can also do flooring. They can also work on any number of things that you want to remodel. Check them out online. It's mycabinetsolution.com. That's mycabinetsolution.com. 6:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There is so much going on this morning. I do appreciate you listening. The Super Text line is open, by the way, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN, 8396. Tren Dem Aragua, talking about, of course, the Democrats and their seemingly never-ending appreciation for Venezuelan gangs. So we have that story that we're going to talk about with Brian Wilson. It is Wednesdays with Wilson, and Brian is standing by to join us coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, including, I mean, this is how fast the news cycle is these days. There is a story that Brian and I are going to talk about that is going to absolutely infuriate you. Did you hear about who it is that's been vandalizing Teslas? Who this guy is? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more with Brian Wilson coming up next. It's Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Right now, we're at 60, but we do have some patchy fog this morning. Those fog areas and a chance of thunderstorms later today as well. We'll get to all of that in the forecast coming up right after the news. A solemn procession at the Vatican this morning as the body of the Pope was taken from a chapel and brought into St. Peter's Basilica for the start of a period of public viewing.
The Pope will now lie in state in an open casket for 3 days as Catholics from around the world pay respect. New details are emerging about his final hours before taking one final ride in the Pope-mobile on Easter Sunday. The Vatican says Francis hesitated, asking his personal nurse, "Do you think I can manage it?" When it was over, the Pope thanked his nurse for reassuring him that he could do it, saying, "Thank you for bringing me back to the square." He died just hours later.
ABC's Lionel Moise reporting there from Vatican City. Closer to home, the state's legislative session is over for this year. A bill that would have allowed schools to either deny or charge tuition for children of families in the U.S. illegally. That bill has been tabled for now over cost concerns. The bill's sponsor, William Lamberth, saying that if the education secretary confirms the state will not lose federal funding over passage of the bill, it will be brought up again in the next legislative session. The FDA is moving to phase out 8 petroleum-based food dyes. Commissioner of the FDA, Dr. Marty Makary.
For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals.
He says the dyes have long been known to be harmful to children.
Taking petroleum-based food dyes out of the food supply is not a silver bullet that will instantly make America's children healthy, but it is one important step.
And food dyes have been linked to behavioral issues in children. And some, like red dye number 40, contains benzene, which has been correlated with cancer. It is not listed, though, as a carcinogen. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. The markets rose sharply yesterday after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the trade war with China will de-escalate in the near future. And in comments to reporters at the White House, President Trump said that he has no intention of firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell, but he would like him to take action on interest rates now.
It's a perfect time to lower the rate, and would like to see our chairman be early or on time as opposed to late.
So far, no changes, but Dow futures are up this morning, 672 points. NASDAQ futures are gaining 491. S&P futures, they're plus 122. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. got a dense fog advisory, and it's affecting roads in Wilson, Williamson, Rutherford counties. Not the city of Nashville, however. This is not under a dense fog advisory that has been issued by the National Weather Service. We do have crashes. Thompson Station Road, make that Thompson Station, a crash on Carter's Creek Pike just south of Barker Road. And also something in the roadway, an obstruction, they're calling it, in Blackman on 840 westbound past Veterans Parkway, exit 50. It's slowing down traffic in that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.705 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well. It is Wednesday, and that means we speak to my friend Brian Wilson every Wednesday at this time. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dano. Good to be with you.
All right, so you texted me a story, and I got to tell you that I pride myself on being up on the news. I did not know the story about who has been vandalizing Teslas. So I'm going to let you do the honors.
Well, it's an interesting story now. In much of the reporting, they describe this guy as he's an employee of Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. Well, that is technically true. I don't think he was, served on the personal staff or anything. But honestly, there was a guy in Minnesota who damaged a whole bunch of Teslas, keyed them all. 33-year-old Dylan Allen, $20,000 in damage to at least 6 Teslas. And they're going to let him walk. He's not going to do any time. He's going to do a diversion program.
Yeah.
He'll pay a little fine. He'll move on. Oh, my client is very remorseful for his actions.
This guy... They say Dylan Adams, a fiscal policy analyst for Walz's Department of Human Services, and they're just going to let him get away with it. And I'm sure that the powers that be within the Democrat Party will probably help him pay the $20,000 to fix all of these Teslas.
Yeah, sure they will. There'll be a GoFundMe account will be set up immediately.
You know that's coming.
You know that's going to happen.
You know that's coming.
The Minneapolis police are upset about this. They said, we did our job. This was apparently one of those, district attorneys or county attorneys. It went to the county attorney's office for consideration. And, we're just satisfied if he just does a diversion program.
Have you heard?
I think it's a hate crime, is what it is.
Have you seen the quote from the attorney? This is the quote from the attorney. My client is very remorseful for his actions and is beginning the process of making sure the victims are made whole financially. I don't believe that he is remorseful for his actions. I believe that he's remorseful because he got caught.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. He, if it had not been caught, he would have been just happy as a clam. No, I mean, he got caught, and now he has to look remorseful in order to go before the judge. But I think he knew full well. He's 33 years old. This is not a stupid kid.
Let me ask you guys a question. Is there a chance that this guy could be charged under federal crimes?
Well, I wonder about that because I think it really borders on something. He's doing it is it a hate crime? I think
that's
it's sort
what
of
I
a
thought.
hate crime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's possible that could happen.
Brian, I got to ask you. I don't know. Did you watch the White House press briefing yesterday?
I saw just a little bit of it. What caught your ear?
So, and I mentioned this in the last hour. Tim Pool, the big podcaster, and I don't know if you saw the story, but basically he was in the new media seat. Now, Tim Pool is a big-time podcaster. He's one of these guys, not quite on Joe Rogan level, but he's getting there.
Right.
He was in the new media seat, And he came out and he actually asked the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, about the media that was in the room and how the media in this room, they have been responsible for all of these different hoaxes, right? I mean, he's really sticking it to the media. The Maryland man hoax, of course, the Russian collusion hoax, and other hoaxes as well. And obviously the purpose of his question was to take digs at the New York Times and the Washington Post and all of these other media outlets that did engage in fake news and trying to assassinate Donald Trump's character and manipulate elections. I loved what Tim Pool did, and Caroline Leavitt, I played the audio a few minutes ago, Caroline Leavitt just said, we love diverse opinions in this room, and that's why you're here. I don't know about you, but there is something satisfying about somebody in that room sticking it to the mainstream media and the White House press corps.
Well, a lot of those reporters who work for those big organizations that you just mentioned, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the regular, suspects, they are sort of haughty and they sort of look down their noses at everyone like they know better than everyone else. And I've been around some of these people in that briefing room. It's been a while, but I was there, and I don't think it's all changed that much. There's just a group of reporters who sort of, float in like, I'm from the vaunted New York Times. And everybody's supposed to bow and scrape. And this administration just doesn't do that. And I'm glad that they don't do that. I did not know about Tim Pool, but I did hear that my friend Larry O'Connor, who I used to work with in D.C., was in the White House briefing room, I think, yesterday. I mean, I really love the fact that people who normally would not be granted access to that briefing room for a briefing are being brought in. And because it seems to me there are real questions about, I think a lot of the mainstream media have a lot to answer for, and they've never answered for it. And I love the fact that other voices are now being brought into that room. It's refreshing.
One of the things that I like, too, is that someone like Tim Pool, and I don't know what his numbers are like, but I do know what Joe Rogan's numbers are like. And he gets, I think it's 20, 30 million, whatever views every single day. But it's a lot. And I do find it fascinating that you have these folks that are online and they're doing their podcasts and so forth, and their views, their viewers, their traffic and all that is like way above and beyond what your MSNBC and your CNN is getting.
No, absolutely.
And don't you think they know that as well? It does seem, Brian, that there are two parts of reality in this country. There are all of us, right, who see Kilmar Abrego Garcia as, an MS-13. He's a gang member. It was okay that he was deported. He belongs in jail and so forth. And then there's the very small minority of people in this country who actually believe that he is and I'm air quoting here, a Maryland man. Do you know what I mean?
I know. It is the story that broke a short while ago.
Yes.
About Kilmar Abrego Garcia and that traffic stop in Tennessee. It is again baffling. Can I just say baffling to me that here you have a guy. Let me just run down the list of things we know about this guy.
Yep.
He's an illegal alien. He's had a couple of hearings. And they decided that indeed he was a potential MS-13 gang member, but it's okay. We're not going to send you back. You can stay in this country. I don't understand that at all. But he was an illegal alien. He's driving a car, an SUV that is owned by a known human trafficker.
Yep.
He said, well, it's just my boss. I'm just transporting some construction workers from Texas, all the way up to, I don't know, where was he going? I forget, but he's going somewhere.
Maryland. He was going to Maryland.
That's right, going to Maryland. And there were 8 people in the SUV. There was no luggage. This thing had all the hallmarks of a human trafficking case. And somehow when it got flagged and the FBI got involved in all this thing, when they put a stop in the computer, it shows up on a lot of different screens around the country if there's something associated with that particular person or that particular vehicle. And it showed up on the FBI files, and they called and said, let him go.
Well, I don't...
And why did they? They had no obligation to do that.
I don't know. See that? So I've got multiple issues with the actions of obviously not only Biden's FBI,
right,
but also the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Why did they acquiesce to? And maybe there's some legal stuff, some policy things that I don't know about. But you got a guy, Tennessee Highway Patrolman, right? The dude that makes the stop.
Right.
You've got a guy who clearly, I mean, you've got a guy who pretends not to speak English, but from the perspective of the Highway Patrol officer, he doesn't speak English. He's driving erratically. I'm sure this vehicle is a beaten down piece of crap. He's got, 8 guys in there that are, more than likely illegal. And the other part of the story is, from what I understand, they took down all the names of these guys. It was like a 2-hour traffic stop. They took down all the names, but the names were not forwarded on to any other authorities.
Yeah, the explanation for that was they handed everybody a piece of paper and said, write down your name and your address, and they all put down this is Abrego Garcia's address because they didn't have an address.
Yeah,
and then when they got the piece of paper back, and the trooper said, "Well, I didn't bring any charges against him, so I didn't really press the issue. But when I got the piece of paper back, it was illegible. I couldn't read it.
Again,
so I don't know the names.
Why would he let them?
There's nothing about this that makes sense.
Mind-boggling. It is
every time
mind-boggling.
I get into a story and I say, this makes absolutely no sense, it means that there's something else about this that has not yet been revealed to us. And I want to know what it is. I want the truth about this. I want the State Patrol to come clean. Maybe there's a valid explanation for why they did this, but they're sure acting weird about it. And they're dragging their feet and telling the story of what happened on that traffic stop.
Yeah. I mean, what's happening is, you've got, as you often say, Brian, and said when you were on the air every day, it's the drip, drip, drip.
Yeah.
We're getting the drip, drip, drip every day or every couple of days. There's yet another story that indicates just how badly this, number one, it's starting to feel like a cover-up. And number two, how bad, obviously, the Biden administration proudly declaring their affiliation seemingly with MS-13 and Venezuelan gang members and so forth. And you also have the Tennessee Highway Patrol, which just let these guys go. And how horrific, Brian, is it going to be if we eventually figure out who these guys are, and one of them actually
turns out to be some kind of terrorist, right?
Terrorist, raped or killed a woman, somehow killed somebody, drunk driving, whatever it might be. And it would be a situation that could have been prevented if the Tennessee Highway Patrol would have done, in my opinion, what they should have done, which is taken this guy in, charged him, regardless of what the FBI says or did or wanted them to do, because, in my opinion, they had a responsibility to protect the people of Tennessee and the people of America.
That's right.
All right.
And look, there's got to be an answer, and it will eventually come out, but they need to just come clean on whatever happened there. This guy who owned the vehicle, his name is Jose Ramon Hernandez Reyes. And the HSI, the Homeland Security Investigation Baltimore Field Office, identified the car as one that had been used in trafficking operations. And apparently it popped up on their screen when the stop was made, so they knew about it. And also what we know about this Hernandez Reyes guy who owned the vehicle, pleaded guilty to smuggling illegal aliens and was sentenced to 18 months in prison following 3 years of supervised release per the Justice Department. So this guy did hard time for human trafficking.
Yep.
He owns the car. Clearly, the bells and whistles went off in a lot of different places when this stop was logged into the system, because it shows up on FBI screens, it shows up on Homeland Security screens, reports are filed, and there was a 2-hour stop. And at the end of it all, you got 8 people, no luggage, a guy with no valid driver's license, and a vehicle that was well established to be connected to Homeland Security investigations had said it was connected to human trafficking. How in the hell do you let a guy like that go?
I've got more on this straight ahead, Brian. I'm 4 minutes late
I'm
for
sorry,
traffic.
I got carried away there.
It's all right. It's all right. The boss is out of town. 7:19, time to check the roads on WTN. 7:19 on Nashville's Morning News. As far as your weather goes, a high of 82 and possible thunderstorms. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News, where Brian Wilson joins us. Brian, I don't know if you saw this story, but it is one of my favorite stories of the day. The House Democrats, the House Republicans are telling them, if you'd like to go to El Salvador to have margaritas with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, we will pay for it. The Republicans are telling the Democrats, we will pay for it as long as we get it, streamed and photos and filmed and everything else. So it's exactly right.
They are doing the stupidest stuff. I don't understand what's going on in the Democrats. It doesn't make any sense at all. I think they're just overwhelmed. I mean, you got a president now who got in there and said, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and he's doing the things that he said he was going to do. He's moving at such a fast pace, it's almost hard to keep up on a day-to-day basis with what is occurring, but a lot is going on, and in my estimation, about 90% of it is pretty good stuff for our side, and I love it, but I'm telling you, they are just losing their minds, and it doesn't make any sense at all how they are behaving. They're adopting these extreme positions that were completely rejected in the last election.
But you see,
I don't understand their strategy here. That didn't seem to be one.
Oh, Brian, you know, and what I said earlier in the 5 is that it's the knee-jerk reaction. If it's Donald Trump, then they're going to take the exact opposite reaction, and they're not thinking.
Perfect example of that is tariffs.
Yes.
There is tape out there, old videotape from back in the day, where Nancy Pelosi is on the floor of the House talking about, we've got to do something about China. We need to increase our tariffs. They're playing dirty. We're not doing enough. She was all for it when it was her idea. The moment it's Donald Trump's idea, well, everybody's against it. And that's just, they again, the old saying, Democrats would have no standards if it were not for double standards.
Well, that's exactly right. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen the futures today, but looking pretty good.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact. And
I think it's going to be fine. Everybody needs to take a deep breath on it. Can I tell you about one story, though, that I'm really excited about that nobody is reporting on?
Sure.
Yeah, I love to find that one little story I say, now, hold on. That nobody's talking about this, but this is huge and has a lot of ramifications for what is on the horizon for all of us. What is the one thing that keeps a lot of people from driving electric cars? They perform well, but they're good for the environment. I think we can agree. Some people might argue about the batteries being a dirty technology, but generally, it is a positive thing for those who care about the environment. They are reducing tailpipe emissions. That's just a fact. There's a lot to like about electric cars, but what's the one thing we don't like?
I mean, I worry about hacking.
Well, I worry about getting on the road and running out of electricity and then having to pull in somewhere and charging for a couple of hours to be able to continue your trip.
Yep.
Listen to this. 5-minute EV charging is here.
Ooh.
Now, it's Chinese technology. We don't have it here, but I mean that they have it means that it will arrive on our shores ere long. 2 of the world's leading battery developers locked into a technological race have brought charging time for an electric vehicle to just 5 minutes. Now, that's how long it takes you to fill up your car with gas.
That's huge.
That would be a huge
game changer
for electric vehicles. It would be the thing that would allow, it would be such a major breakthrough that a lot of other people who say, I don't want an electric car, I don't want to get stranded somewhere, blah, blah, blah. Well, they may still have some concerns, but a lot of people, that was the big one.
Well, and now
I need more range.
Yes.
I don't want to wait on the highway for 2 hours while I charge my electric vehicle.
Now they got to get charging stations all across the country because that's also part of the dynamic. Interesting.
This is what Buc-ee's is all about. I've always thought that this is what Buc-ee's was all about. Eventually, when electric cars come on in a bigger way, and they will in time. I don't think we're ready yet, but they will come along.
Are you aware, by the way, Brian, of the big controversy that we had here at WTN regarding Buc-ee's? I think it was a couple of years ago now.
No, I don't know. I love Buc-ee's.
So I said that Buc-ee's was a great truck stop.
Oh,
and
no. They don't allow trucks.
I know. I triggered Matt Murphy. And so he and I engaged in some, Buc-ee's fun. So You know what I found?
What?
In my, we're trying to clean some stuff out. I found a big yellow Bucky's coffee mug.
I have one. That's what I drink my water out of throughout the day.
Should I give that to Matt Murphy?
Yeah, you should. Just give it to Matt.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Tomorrow when Matt Murphy comes in, there's going to be a big yellow Bucky's, brand new, it hasn't even been used, a big Bucky's coffee mug that I'll be regifting to Matt Murphy.
Well, there you go. I mean, I love going to Bucky's. I stop every time. We just went down to Birmingham, stopped in briefly, and got you got your pulled pork barbecue sandwiches. I mean, the food there is good. It's clean. You can find the most interesting stuff at a Bucky's. It sort of is like, when I grew up, there was a place along the highway like that called Stuckey's.
Yes.
Remember Stuckey's?
Yep.
I don't think there's any Stuckey's left in America. If there are, I'm surprised. But this is sort of like Stuckey's on steroids.
Yes, it is.
Bucky's has the best bathrooms ever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the bathrooms are great, but
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the fudge and the coffee.
Yeah.
Like for me, my favorite Bucky's thing, fudge and coffee. Brian's apparently is you said the pulled pork?
Pulled pork sandwich. Good stuff.
Okay.
yeah.
Joan, what about you? Do you have a favorite food real quick?
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of really good sandwiches, but is it pulled pork or is it? I forget. One of their really
Brisket.
That's it. It's the brisket.
Okay.
And they talk to you and they sing and they're wonderful.
Yeah, they're happy people.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, they're packed.
Oh, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
The time.
I just like that squirrel.
And the squirrel.
It's a beaver, not a squirrel.
It's a beaver, yeah.
Oh, sue me.
Bucky Beaver.
Jeez, what's wrong with you?
Hey, but I got to
KGB?
say thanks to the Wellness Institute for supporting what we do here on Wednesdays with Wilson Wednesdays.
All right, very good. Thank you, Brian, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday unless news breaks. And Joan Jones is here. Hey, Joan.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court is tilting toward parents' rights in an argument over LGBTQ story time. That's coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Yes, they are big supporters of WTN, have been for years, and a lot of reasons why I love the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Top one is that they helped me when I had severe chronic pain in my back, my neck, and my knees as well. I was a mess. I went to the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and they helped me out with spinal decompression therapy. Now, these days, 11 years later, I have never felt better. Again, I arrived in Tennessee some 10 years ago. I went through spinal decompression therapy. It really did help me, and they can help you as well. Right now, they've got a great deal if you are in chronic pain. The Wellness Institute of Nashville is offering the Big 47 offer in honor of our 47th President of the United States. That is 47% off spinal decompression therapy. Call them at 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
Good morning. It's 7:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top story. Stick around for your traffic and weather right after the news. The Supreme Court appears ready to affirm parents' religious liberties after hearings yesterday over a Maryland county that removed parents' rights to opt out of elementary school classes using LGBTQ storybooks.
It does seem at the end of the day that these parents from Montgomery County will get what they're asking for, and that is a right to pull their kids from class because of their faith, and it could have far-reaching ramifications nationwide.
ABC's Devin Dwyer reporting Islamic terrorists attacked a popular tourist spot in India in the Kashmir region, shooting to death at least 26 people and wounding dozens of others. There were about 1,000 people in the area when the terrorists opened fire. A little-known Pakistani group called Kashmir Resistance has claimed responsibility. Locally, 3 Smyrna middle schoolers are facing felony charges after bringing a lighter to school and setting fire to a piece of paper during classes last week. That fire ignited a bookshelf. The students are charged with aggravated arson, false reporting, and 20 counts of reckless endangerment. Meantime, Metro Nashville schools say they're now in compliance with President Trump's executive order to remove DEI from schools. MNPS changed the name of its DEI office and the title of its executive officer of DEI, but it appears the mission remains the same. It's not clear if those changes will satisfy the president's demands and therefore allow the schools to keep their federal funding. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
7:31. Nashville's Morning News. Avoid the stress of preparing to sell your home with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Friends, you can skip the hassle of spring cleaning and sell your home fast for maximum value. You don't have to worry about showings, open houses, costly repairs. Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer allows you to bypass the market, receive an all-cash offer, and close within days. With over 12,500 five-star reviews, you can trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast with their guaranteed cash offer. Mark Spain Real Estate has been serving families for nearly 30 years. They've helped over 67,500 satisfied clients. So spring into action and sell your home with confidence with Mark Spain Real Estate and their guaranteed offer. 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Website, markspain.com. That's markspain.com, and start packing. Dan Mandis here, looking ahead to summertime. Do you have big events planned? Maybe you've got something planned in the next couple of weeks, whether it's a big corporate, a gig, maybe a family reunion, maybe a wedding, maybe a graduation party, maybe a birthday party. You can do it in the backyard with some amazing tent or awnings from my friends at Nashville Tent and Awning. Now, they've been around since 1884. They are a Nashville institution, and yes, they've worked with the likes of the Titans, Vanderbilt, and the Grand Ole Opry as well. Now, they have these incredible enclosures, and they can be installed anywhere. Again, in your backyard, maybe a park, but basically, if you don't want to go through the massive cost of renting out, a hallway, a hotel room, whatever it is, well, you can put up a great enclosure from Nashville Tent and Awning. They are one of the top companies in Nashville. Think about your backyard. You can actually extend your living space with a backyard enclosure so that you can enjoy the nice shade as the sun gets hotter and we head into summer. Now, if you have an event for work coming up, they can help you there as well with a tent or one of those great enclosures. And they've got awnings for any style of building that is going to improve the look and the feel of your home or office. Get some visuals, ntaco.com, ntaco.com, as I like to say. Also, they've got a great Facebook page as well. I'm always reposting their Facebook page on mine, 615-329-3701. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 615-329-3701. Solid craftsmanship and built to last since 1884 in Nashville, tent and awning.
Little bit of fog on the roads this morning, and you also have a crash on in Bellevue on I-40, the eastbound side past Old Hickory Boulevard West. Another one in Hermitage that blocks off the left shoulder on I-40 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard East. You've got a crash in Nashville, South Nashville, 24 the eastbound side at Murfreesboro Pike, and then on the west side of 24 in Bellshire. Got an accident reported past Briley Parkway North. That's exit 43. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, Joan Jones and KGB.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
When I mention Memphis, what's the thing that immediately jumps to mind?
Avoid.
Joan?
I
Go with your first gut.
Okay. Western part of Tennessee.
Okay. My first thought when I think about Memphis is crime.
Okay, yeah.
And most people do. Have you heard what's going on with the Memphis Zoo?
No.
I didn't know they had a zoo.
The headline is the attendance has plummeted because of what they call the perception of high crime in the city of Memphis.
Perception?
That's what they say, the perception of high crime.
Just with your eyesight, it looks bad.
In the city. Now, Memphis Zoo President Matt Thompson, this was, I believe it's the local Fox affiliate, talks about the folks that go to the Memphis Zoo.
The Memphis Zoo, considered by many to be one of the Bluff City's most popular landmarks and tourist attractions.
Over 50% of our paid gate admission, our general admission, come from beyond 50 miles. And so that makes the Memphis Zoo a destination zoo.
Right. But the problem is, like KGB said, anybody who ever thinks about Memphis, especially people in Nashville, because I think people in Nashville have just this natural dislike, distrust of Memphis.
Yeah.
Because you never hear anything good about Memphis. And so the big issue for the zoo is that attendance is way down because crime continues to go up in Memphis with high-profile killings constantly in the news.
The young lady that was jogging, what was her name?
Miss Fletcher.
Miss Fletcher, that happened. And then the shooting that came after that, we saw a tremendous drop in our attendance.
An attendance drop of almost 20%.
And we were told directly by our members that people were nervous to come back into the city. So we've seen some people leave the city.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. And by the way, the reality is that crime is actually down a bit in Memphis, but the perception is really the reality, because even if crime is going down a tad in Memphis, which, by the way, I don't know if I believe the stats, the perception is that Memphis is, and it is, crime-ridden. You had the death of Eliza Fletcher. I don't know if you were here, Joan, when Eliza Fletcher was killed. She was out jogging, and she was abducted and killed by a dirtbag. Right after that, you had a mass shooting that happened as well, where a guy, it was the craziest thing. He just roamed the city and started shooting people. And you have shootings all the time in Memphis. It's like, hey, did you remember that, if somebody says, do you remember that mass shooting in Memphis? People are going to be like, you've got to be more specific, man. I mean, that's what happens with Memphis.
Yeah.
You have shootings all the time. There was the Tyree Nichols case where 3 Memphis cops were convicted in his deaths. But the deal is that with Memphis, it's not a perception that Memphis is crime-ridden. It is crime-ridden. And so now you've got the zoo because people are avoiding Memphis really at all costs. Now they're losing all kinds of money. And it comes at a tough time for the zoo because they're trying to make all of these upgrades to the zoo, but people, they're not traveling to Memphis.
Thompson presented a comprehensive campus plan, including new Stingray, Africa, and Oceans to Forest exhibits costing about $250 million. But in light of their expansion plans, they admit attendance is down because of recent fears about Memphis crime.
Now, do a little research, and it'll tell you that Memphis, believe it or not, does continue to be a strong tourism industry. You do have the zoo. You have, of course, Graceland. They also have a pretty cool minor league ballpark out there. And this is why I want to go to Memphis, is because of the ballpark. The Redbirds, they're a Cardinals AAA affiliate. So apparently some people are not afraid to go to Memphis, but I think that a lot of people are. And I think there's a lot of folks in Nashville who think about Memphis, and they're like, there's no way that I'm going to go to Memphis. I don't care what they have. So now the zoo is forced to ask for $3 million to get all of those upgrades at the zoo from the city of Memphis and also from the county, from Shelby County.
So what I proposed to both mayors was that they split that.
Council members urge caution.
This is an amazing asset, and we need to figure out, how to support it and how to keep it.
However, we need to make sure that we are good stewards and that we need sustainability.
Sustainability versus improvements as the zoo works to keep tourists coming through their gates.
We've been around for 100 years. It's an old zoo. And many of our exhibits, like the one we're replacing with Africa, they don't meet modern day standards.
From what I understand, and you hear the city council talking about how they need to be good stewards of the money that they have. You got a lot of corruption, a lot of crime, obviously. The schools in Memphis are absolute crap, and on it goes.
Yeah.
The common joke of, can't we just give Memphis to, Mississippi? Most folks aren't joking when they actually say that. A lot of people say, one guy said on the super text line, if the crime is down in Memphis, it's because they've run out of bullets.
Oh, that's terrible.
Mario says that I would feel safer in a cage with a wild animal than on the streets of Memphis.
Memphis is also on the edge of Arkansas, so we'd have to give it to them, which is...
Give it to them to give it to Arkansas?
To be fair, also, they did give us the Clintons, so I think that's a fair trade. As in, they're both awful.
No, I understand.
Okay,
thank you for explaining it to me.
You're welcome. Happy to help.
They actually gave us 2 Clintons. They gave us Hillary and Bill.
Exactly.
And
That's enough.
I just had to go publicly and say I'm not praising the Clintons in any way, shape, or form.
I don't know. KGB, that's what I heard. I heard that you were praising the Clintons.
I mean, if I don't, I'll probably end up hung on a tree somewhere with a gunshot wound in my chest and they say it's suicide. But
that's exactly right.
Who do I know? Vince Foster.
You don't want to be Hillary or Clinton. Is it Clinton or Hillary? I guess it's
Clinton.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, is the Vince Foster thing, is that just common knowledge now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. Let's see here.
I think
1313. Go ahead.
I think that you can say similar things about just about any city. You know, it was tough, like in D.C. to go to see a baseball game because it was down in an area that's really kind of ugly and not in a great part of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore is just a horrible crime-ridden place, but people always go to see the Orioles and
Camden
the Baltimore
Yards
Ravens.
is gorgeous.
Yeah, Camden Yards is amazing.
Yeah, Camden Yards in the area there is.
It's probably one of the most beautiful ballparks in baseball.
Yes, but you venture away from the aquarium and the ballpark, and man, because I learned that when I lived in Virginia. It was like you leave Baltimore and it is horrific.
Sure
if you
is.
leave through that area.
So I think that you can say the same thing about almost every city, but people will go.
I won't. I'm not going to. You going to go to Memphis? Joan, have you been to Memphis yet?
Driven through it.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I've driven through it a couple of times, and I'm not getting off that interstate, man. Just not doing it.
Yeah.
At some point, I probably will. I don't know if you can get.
You've never been?
Not to Memphis, no.
Okay.
I've driven through it.
I've driven through it, but I've always wanted to visit Graceland. That's like on my bucket list. I know people say it's like overrated, but it just seems like it's one of the places. If you live in Tennessee, you kind of have to just experience it.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know if tourism. And by the way, just to be perfectly clear, they say here in this piece that tourism is down to the zoo, but if you look it up, they say that tourism is actually still holding steady in Memphis. So I don't know if the zoo is doing something wrong or what it is, but I just thought that it was funny about how they're talking about the perception of Memphis crime when clearly it is a reality. And by the way, obviously we all know what is the common denominator of all of the cities that we just mentioned. They are run by Democrats, and George Soros paid for soft on crime district attorneys. It is 7:47. We are running late today. I don't know what's going on.
We have a lot to talk about.
That we do have a lot to, and I haven't even done, Joan, I haven't even done my John Legend segment yet.
You got to get to that one.
All right, coming up at 8:05, we're going to talk a little bit about, probably a lot of bit, about John Legend is an absolute blow. Now, do people know who John Legend is? He is
Chrissy Teigen's husband.
Yes, he's Mr. Christy Teigen, but he's also just a moron in so many different ways. We're going to talk about that and a lot more straight ahead. Traffic time on WTN. Joan, what's worse? KGB just asked, Chicago or Memphis?
I think Chicago.
See, I was going to say Memphis, and here's why. Because Chicago is bigger, and most of that crime is focused on the south side of Chicago. Memphis is smaller, but still has all of that crime. I think that crime is spread out more in Memphis.
Yeah.
That's from what I understand, and I don't know, but from what I understand, Memphis has just a lot of crime spread out in a lot of different areas. Like all places, there's probably some good and some safe areas of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
They're just harder to find and probably smaller in scope. So, yeah, I believe that Memphis is probably worse than Chicago.
Okay.
But I've never been there.
Should we do a poll? Should that be a poll?
No. Although that might be interesting. All right, You know what? You want to do the poll?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do the poll?
Let's find the final tallies for the Trump one first.
All right. So right now, go to YouTube. Watch us on YouTube. It's actually working today, and take the Daily Dan poll. Like and subscribe. And today's poll is: what grade would you give Donald Trump thus far in his presidency? A, B, C, D, or F, failing. And right now, what do the numbers show, KGB?
Right now, 65% is A, 29% B, 3% C, and 3% for D and F. People are using the chat to say B because of the fact there's some things in the cabinet that have not gone well.
That is absolutely correct.
That's fair. Like people I think the big grade is just because the border has gone perfect.
Right.
In terms of policy.
Border's gone perfect. They've made some mistakes. So you want to talk about the mistakes? I think Pam Bondi. I don't think
the Epstein thing hurt.
The Epstein thing, that hurt, and they got to stop talking about it. They've got to stop talking about it. But I'll do mine. We're gonna ask Chris Hand in the crisscross
applesauce
handoff
pepperoni pizza
thing. We'll ask Chris what his opinion is, and I'll give my opinion on what grade I would give Donald Trump. Coming up at 8:35. It is 7:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 6630 says KGB goes to the poll a lot. Daddy issues?
What?
That's just wrong.
What's wrong with you? I love my dad.
Whatever.
Wrong.
That's one of those moments I probably should have not.
Yeah, you could have just looked over. There were so many others to read. Oh my gosh.
No, you know what? Can I tell you why?
Why?
Because I thought the text meant one thing,
and
then I read it, and then I realized when I read it.
Here's a better text: the safest place in Memphis is not being in Memphis.
There you go.
Could have said that one.
You know what? Memphis is safer than the super text line. That's what I would say.
That's it.
That is exactly. Right along. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, that new piece of evidence that points to Kilmar Abrego Garcia's actual identity. That and more here coming up at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for Tennessee National. Listen, if you've always wanted to live by the lake, listen up. Tennessee National, a highly anticipated lakefront resort, golf, and marina community, is having a spring sales event. It is happening this weekend on Saturday. They've got a limited number of lake lots that they are going to be releasing to the public. You've got massive upgrades. You've got massive savings. And again, this is happening this Saturday. Now listen to these deals. Cottage packages with boat slips, those are starting from $379.9. Lake lots with covered boat slips, $64.9. Subdividable wooded lots from $79.9. And the first time ever, fully furnished lakefront townhomes as well. Now, you want to talk about the amenities at Tennessee National? 3.5 miles of shoreline, brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse. They've got pickleball, pools, on-site coffee shops, a great restaurant, and a whole lot more. By the way, this is 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. You've got to check them out. Again, this coming Saturday, April 26th, they are releasing these lots, but they do have limited space. Secure your private tour right now by calling 865-408-9992. 865-408-9992 for Tennessee National, TennesseeNational.com. Dan Mandis here. Listen, don't forget Mother's Day is coming up. And my friends at Contours, they are here to help you. You know, a lot of guys, if you're certainly like me, I always have trouble with Mother's Day and what to get your wife or your mom for Mother's Day. Well, Contours is here to help you because they're offering you, they're famous for their ultra slim technology at Contours. that stimulates collagen and tightens your skin, helping those fine lines and age spots fade when you get a facial from Contours. Because, yes, they do help you get inches off the belly. They also do incredible facials as well. And so now what they're doing is offering you a Mother's Day special. That's right. This is huge. A Mother's Day special. You can get a facial and a belly buster treatment for just $199. That's $199 for a full-on facial, and yes, also the belly buster treatment as well. That is a huge discount, and right now, if you want to get it for Mom, you can. You've got to be one of the first 5 callers for that special price. 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960 for the Mother's Day special. Now, if you're not sure how this red light technology, this ultra slim technology works, you can see it online. It is ContoursLLC.com. That's ContoursLLC.com. And don't forget the Mother's Day special going on right now. You can get the belly buster treatment and the facial, both combined for Mother's Day for $199. You've got to call right now, 615-236-9960. $7:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Some people are saying we're being too hard on Memphis.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Which is fine.
Have they seen Memphis?
No, some people are saying, listen, they went to West Memphis, they went to the zoo, but if you go to the zoo, you've got to go early, make sure that you're inside by 4 o'clock or by the time it gets dark. Other people talking about the greatness of Beale Street. Other people are saying, oh, yeah, they went to the ballpark and they lived to tell the story. So
lived to tell the story.
I don't know about Beale Street.
They survived Beale Street.
And by the way, I guess Memphis also has terrific barbecue, which is fine. Can I just be honest with you? All barbecue tastes the same to me.
What have you done?
Whoa, really?
What are you
It
doing?
does. I don't know.
Why
I don't know
are you
if it's
saying this here?
I don't know if it's my taste buds or what it is, but you know,
we're in the South, man. Be careful what you say. When it comes to barbecue.
I love all barbecue. I'm just saying, but to me, it all
We
just
here at
kinda
WTN do not stand with Dan
tastes the
Mannon's current
same
statement
to
when
me.
it comes to barbecue.
What's the best barbecue? Tell me a good barbecue. All right, super text line. Tell me the best barbecue place to go, and I will go. What's the best barbecue in Middle Tennessee? I'll be glad to go, and we'll check it out. But I've had a lot of barbecue, and it's all just, to me, really, really, really good. It's 8 o'clock. All right, coming up, we've got John Legend and Elon Musk both in the news, and it's coming up next on WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's a crash in Talbot's Corner this morning on 65 southbound lanes at I-24 North. That may be causing some big delays this morning. More in traffic and weather right after the news. Fresh information about the Tennessee traffic stop involving Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Just the News is reporting that the deported El Salvadoran man had been driving an SUV that was owned by another man who himself was deported after pleading guilty to smuggling illegal aliens in 2020. The information part of a Homeland Security intelligence document. In that 2020 stop, Abrego Garcia told police the SUV belonged to his boss, and he was driving people inside to a construction work site. The Tennessee legislation session has officially gavelled out, and some bills are now headed to the governor's desk for signing, including a bill that bans Glock switches.
Up to 1,200 rounds a minute. Glock switches turn regular pistols into virtual machine guns, a danger lawmakers have now tackled in Tennessee.
We don't need those in the state of Tennessee. We don't need them anywhere, frankly. So they're legal under federal law. We're going to make them illegal under state law as well.
A bill now headed to the governor's desk. It'll become a Class C felony now to own them, adding a heftier jail sentence for offenders.
That's Channel 4's Steve Mailing. A bill that would deal with illegal immigrant children in Tennessee schools was tabled for the session over cost concerns. Elon Musk is stepping back a bit from his Doge responsibilities.
Elon Musk's role at the White House appears to be winding down. The Tesla CEO told investors he'll be stepping back from his role at the Department of Government Efficiency next month.
I think I'll continue to spend, a day or two per week on government matters.
Tesla profits plunged 71% in the first quarter of this year. The company acknowledging political sentiment likely played a role as Musk and his team worked to slash government spending and jobs. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
In Ocean County, New Jersey, a wildfire is raging out of control through the Pinelands. That's a vast forest of pines in the center of the state. Thousands of residents there have been evacuated.
No lights, no power, no gas stations open, convenience stores, everything's closed. There's cops on every corner. It's just a very eerie feeling.
8,500 acres have burned with heavy winds fueling those flames. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Pretty nice start we're headed for on Wall Street. The Dow futures are up 773 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 572. S&P futures are up 137 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, still working that crash in Talbot's Corner. It's on 65 southbound at I-24 north. The left shoulder there is blocked off. In Hermitage, 40 westbound side before Old Hickory Boulevard East, you've got a crash in the HOV lanes. And East Nashville, Ellington Parkway southbound at Cleveland Street, the right shoulder blocked off there by a crash as well. And one more in Haynes at Whites Creek Pike at Night Drive. Got an accident there as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'd like to apologize for something that I said earlier, Joan. Because, on occasion, because, we're flying without a net here. And earlier, I need to address it. Because earlier, I said something that I need to apologize for. When I said that all barbecue tastes the same.
I told you to watch it.
People are calling me a dumb A Californian. And the funny thing is, KGB, I bet that people thought I was going to apologize for that other thing that I said. Which
no, this one requires an apology.
This actually does require an apology.
Yeah.
Saying all barbecue tastes the same.
But you got to know the location. We're in the South.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a very barbecue-friendly area. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Well, I now have a lot of suggestions as to where to go, not only to HE double toothpicks, but also to all kinds of...
The text line blew up.
Yeah, it sure did.
It's also like it's the same thing if you mocked the Vols. You just can't do that.
I love the Vols.
Or calling them the Vols. That is like blasphemy here. You have to be very careful.
I was very careful not to shank anything on the Vols.
Yeah, you
because
gotta be careful.
I actually like watching. I like the Vols more than I like the Titans.
Well, right now they're competitive compared to the Titans.
Yeah, absolutely right. I love what the coach did with that quarterback, where he basically said, "You know what? Did we talk about that? We talked about that.
We didn't. I don't think we did not talk about the son. It's the dad's fault mainly because the dad was influencing him a lot about that. And there's obviously going to be father interventions with this, but when the father is like in contract negotiations with a kid that's not even in his 20s, yep. I'm not sure how old Nico is, but. I think in California, we call those stage parents. Ironically, he's going to California. He's going to UCLA now.
Yep, for a lot less money. All right, moving right along.
That's so true.
So Elon Musk, I want to play this audio. It's not very good audio, but this is Jasmine Crockett. I guess she was on one of the shows, and somebody actually taped this with their phone. But this is Jasmine Crockett. It's a very short clip, thankfully, talking about Elon Musk.
The level of incompetence is almost like incomprehensible. It is so bad. And when you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk, he is not only like very sinister and has no idea what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows because he's the richest man in the world. Like, yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius, because he ain't.
He ain't. It's Jasmine Crockett, everybody.
I didn't know he hired someone when he started Tesla by himself.
The brain trust of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. Well, here's the good news. There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is Doge earlier this week, and we're talking to Brian about the news cycle. I actually had this story yesterday, but I didn't get to it. Doge continues to do its job. Elon Musk has now announced that he is stepping back from government work and Doge to focus on Tesla. But before he does, they found a ton of fraud and waste in the U.S. National Science Foundation. So I guess, I don't even know what these people do, but when you hear what we've been paying for through this foundation, you'll be thanking your lucky stars that Elon Musk got involved with Doge. But Tesla had an earnings call yesterday. I don't know if you folks heard about this. It was brutal. They're down like
70%.
70%. They had a weaker than expected first quarter, missing its revenue by nearly $2 billion. And with that, Elon Musk made an announcement. This is the quote: "Starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla." He says, now that the major work of establishing the Department of Government Efficiency is done, Musk said in that Tuesday earnings call. He said he's going to continue to spend a day or two a week on government matters as long as it is useful, and the president wants him to continue to do so. So he does have a response. I'm just going to say this, because I am a big Elon Musk fan, and he does have a responsibility, though, to Tesla. And this is a company that he did. Did he create Tesla, or did he buy it and transformed it? I want to say that he bought it and transformed it. Am I right on that, Joan? I don't think Tesla was obviously what it is now when he bought it. I think that he turned the company around.
I think that he actually had help with Tesla in the beginning.
Okay.
And then whoever that other person was is not on the scene anymore.
Right. I mean, there is no doubt that Elon Musk is a genius, despite what that not so much genius Jasmine Crockett says on Kimmel or wherever she was.
Yeah.
But listen to this, and I get it. This dude, Elon Musk, has been threatened. His family's been threatened. His private life has been exposed. For a lot of people, he is public enemy number one. You got people that work apparently for Tim Walz, we're talking about this earlier, that took part in vandalizing Tesla dealerships and Teslas and so forth. Cars are being keyed. I mean, on and on it goes. And I think that with Tesla as a product going down for a number of different reasons, it's not only because he's been focused on government work. It's not only also because of his affiliation with Trump, but also there's a lot more competition now in the electric vehicle space. So there is that as well. Now, all that to say that he is still the top dog in electric vehicles, but he needs to get back to it. But listen to this, because there's a lot of success stories that come out of Doge. He does have a lot to be proud of. And again, the success stories keep coming in. Doge has canceled now $233 million worth of DEI-based grants by the U.S. National Science Foundation. Don't even know what that is. But listen to this. A total of 402 grants were eliminated. And here are some examples. $1 million for story work for racial equity in STEM at Northwestern University, citing Marxist frameworks. Almost $1 million to Georgia Tech to address whiteness and white supremacy in STEM classrooms. I mean, it's all the same BS that we've been talking about since Doge uncovered a lot of this stuff in USAID. $4.4 million to Columbia University to decolonize geoscience.
Okay.
I don't even know. What does that even mean? Like, when I hear this stuff, I don't even know what it means. Decolonize geoscience.
It's because you and I don't speak that
Egghead.
language.
Yeah, we don't speak egghead DEI. $15,000 again to Columbia researchers studying non-formative forms of gender and sexuality. Non-normative forms of gender and sexuality. I think that's what Kanye was into when he was younger.
Right.
What? And if you don't know what that means, just Google it.
Yeah.
I can't talk about that.
Nope.
Chris did yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't because I'm in morning drive. Otherwise, I'd be having a lot of fun with that. $905,000 for studying sex gender narratives in biology education to support transgender and non-binary students. You know, this stuff actually makes my head hurt. It does. Like, when I'm reading all this, it all just sounds like a bunch of DEI nonsense. So, you know what? Elon Musk, he came in and he canceled $233 million worth of DEI-based grants, 402 in total. But, you know, and we keep saying this because it is true. What's interesting about the left and the media is that what they appreciate, who they appreciate, and who they advocate for. So they're advocating for illegal aliens, gang members, and killers, but they'll go after a guy like Elon Musk, and it's baffling. Jasmine Crockett just used the term sinister for Elon Musk. I'm sorry, my voice went up. Sinister for Elon Musk. Now, I would ask Jasmine Crockett, have you ever utilized the term sinister for the guy that killed Laken Riley? Have you ever used the word sinister for the guy that killed Rachel Marin? Have you ever used the word sinister for Kilmar Abrego Garcia?
Or the killers of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Or the killers of Jocelyn Nungaray. I mean, no, she hasn't.
Nope.
She saves her vitriol for Elon Musk, a guy that is saving, billions and billions of dollars, and his inventions have done incredible things for literally humanity. I mean, let's not forget, it was Elon Musk who, when we had the flooding in, Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, Elon Musk, what is the first thing he did? He got a bunch of Starlink systems up there so that people could communicate.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He did that.
That's sinister.
No, that certainly is sinister, isn't it, Joan?
Sure.
So he's done he rescued Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, the astronauts. He rescued them. Certainly that is sinister, isn't it? So for Jasmine Crockett, and she is just emblematic of where the Democrat Party is right now, just constantly taking the wrong side. And he's getting death threats. The Tesla protests, they do continue. And his biggest crime is loving America, wanting to save America, because that's what his point is. He wants to save America because we are trillions of dollars in debt, and it's not sustainable. And he wants the truth to be told about what the American people, what we're spending our money on. And so the more that they go after Elon Musk, and I get that there's people that don't like Elon Musk for whatever reason, but let's compare Elon Musk to the killers of Americans. Let's just do that, or those that are guilty or taking part in human trafficking, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, child trafficking, like a lot of these folks as well from MS-13 and so forth. So it just does seem like a strange flex to use the term sinister, Jasmine Crockett, to use the term sinister for Elon Musk when we have all this other stuff going on. I have not done traffic. It is 8:18 on Super Talk. What is with me today, man? I'm out of it. It is 8:18. Time to check the roads on WTN. Weather today, a high of 82 and possible thunderstorms as well at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I know what my problem is, Joan. My problem today, because I've been off clock all day.
Yeah.
The first thing that I heard this morning was John Legend.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
That's the first thing I heard.
I'm sorry.
So this is making news. And John Legend, of course, the musician. I only have time to play one of the 4 sound bites that I have of John Legend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play what I will call a teaser cut. And then we'll let Chris Hand have some fun as well, listening to the so insightful words of John Legend. But he was at some sort of like a stupid... Does everybody know who John Legend is? So if you don't know who John Legend is, he is really full of himself. He is a singer, and I don't know, what is he, soul, R&B?
Okay, I would go for R&B. He plays the piano.
He plays the piano.
He's a talented guy.
He's, he shills those vaccines really well. Sells those vaccines and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He and Taylor Swift's a boyfriend. Anyway... This is John Legend, and part of what is making him in the headlines today.
To bring people together.
No, absolutely. That's what you want.
Be a comforter in chief, you know?
He's talking about Donald Trump and how Donald Trump should be a uniter. Donald Trump should be, I'm air quoting this, a comforter in chief instead of what he really is, which is basically the usual litany of insults. Hitler, Nazi, and all the rest of that stuff. It is so, it is interesting, actually. I think we've stumbled upon a bit of a narrative here. And that is, you've got Jasmine Crockett calling Elon Musk sinister, and we've got John Legend talking about how, Donald Trump is dividing people and all of these other things, yet they have, again, not to belabor the point, but nothing to say about the real criminals that we have in this country. And so they're saving their most vitriolic attacks for people that simply, number one, don't deserve them, and number two, they're not attacking the people that do deserve to be attacked verbally. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more with Chris Hand coming up. Got a lot straight ahead on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. I want it noted.
Yes.
That I am exactly on time to the second with hitting that sounder and
even if it is the
introducing
first
you.
time all day.
I've been distracted because the first thing that I heard today was John Legend. And we'll talk about that coming up.
So the mystery behind a single car deadly crash in Brentwood early this morning. Also, the leader of the World Economic Forum steps down in disgrace. That and more coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.822, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Tennessee Nationalists. And if you've always wanted to live by the lake, you've got an opportunity, a great opportunity this weekend on Saturday, because Tennessee National, they are, by the way, 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. They are a lakefront community, and they've got great options for you. They're going to be released to the public, just a limited number of lake lots being released this coming Saturday. Let me tell you some of the deals. A cottage package with a boat slip for $379.9. A lake lot with covered boat slips, $64.9. Subdividable wooded lots, those are starting at $79.9. And for the first time ever, and these are, by the way, my favorites out at Tennessee National, the fully furnished lakefront townhomes, those are amazing. I actually spent a weekend in one of those. They are terrific. And by the way, also terrific, the amenities at Tennessee National. They feature 3.5 miles of shoreline, brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, an amazing restaurant on the water. You've got waterfront concerts overlooking that beautiful lake. They've got pickleball, swimming pools, on-site coffee shops, and so much more at Tennessee National. Play on the lake or simply relax at the waterfront restaurants. Again, 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available. Call them again. You've got these lake lots that are opening to the public, upgrades and savings, a limited number this Saturday. Secure your private tour at 865-408-9992, 865-408-9992, TennesseeNational.com. 825, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm going to tell you about my friends at Clayton Homes. Now, they are in the middle of a big home sales event that is going on right now. It is the Go Big and Go Home sales event exclusively from my friends at Clayton Homes. Now, Clayton Homes are changing the way homes are built. These are affordable homes and cost less to live in. They use quality products from the world's most trusted brands. And yes, they come equipped with Energy Smart features for year-round comfort and, yes, a lifetime of savings as well. Now, if you already live in a manufactured or a mobile home, you can actually use that as a down payment. Clayton Homes and Freedom Homes, they are here to answer all your questions with multiple options, floor plans, and features as well. Now, if you don't know where to start, go to gobigandgohomesale.com. That's gobigandgohomesale.com and get all the information you need and go home from Clayton Homes. Sales price is for the home only and does not include required taxes, delivery, and installation. Installed price will be higher. Contact your local retailer for complete sales price information and for a list of eligible homes. Discount may not be available on all models, may not be combined with any other offer or promotion. Sales event ends 4/30/25. $8:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and welcome on in to a Hump Day Wednesday. Can you explain this to me, Joan? Crockett is the Timu version of a congressman. I hear that Timu version. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I'm sure that
cheap knockoff.
Cheap knockoff, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That checks with Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
Although, you know what, she's the official spokesperson now for the Democrat Party. So thank you, Democrats, for making Jasmine Crockett the most high-profile Democrat out there right after the Maryland senator who went to go see a wife-beating human trafficker. I think that's great. So you know what I feel like what we need to do is actually start sending the Democrats Christmas cards and the like. Oh, wait, they don't believe in Christmas either. Moving right along. It is 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Tennessee's state legislature has ended its session for the year. Now, among the measures that have passed, a ban on Glock switches, more recess time for students, and the governor's budget, and a ban on DEI hiring in the state's government and colleges as well.
So those employers will no longer be able to consider race, ethnicity, or sex during the hiring process. Lawmakers behind the bill say they want to focus on merit-based hiring. Lawmakers also passed another bill that would unravel offices and programs that promote DEI. Critics have argued that this is a vast overreach.
WSMV's Amanda Hera there. A woman in her 20s died in a single-car crash in Brentwood early this morning. It happened at Old Hickory Boulevard near Oaks Road. Police say that car left the road and crashed into a tree. Detectives say no signs of impairment were evident at the crash scene. The so-called doomsday mother, convicted of helping to murder her own children, has now been convicted of a new crime, this time for the murder of her fourth husband.
Guilty is the verdict from the jurors in Maricopa County, Arizona. They were polled by the judge. They all said that, yes, that is what they agree with. That is what they decided on after about 6 hours of deliberating. She sat, Lori Vallow-Daybell, in the courtroom, not showing a lot of emotion. Her long blonde hair. She walked in with a whole bunch of documents. She represented herself.
That's ABC's Alex Stone. The guy who founded the World Economic Forum is under investigation. Whistleblowers reported Klaus Schwab and his wife used WEF funds to pay for massages and personal travel. Other top executives have departed recently over accusations that women and black employees were discriminated against. Schwab has stepped down as chair of the board of trustees. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. And the opening bell this morning, things are looking just as we had been hoping this morning. Dow Jones Industrials trading up 807 right now. We've got the NASDAQ up 571. S&P 500 index opening 137 points higher. That's the latest news, traffic and weather. And next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here for the Low T Center. Guys, if you're over 40 and you're running low on energy, maybe you're just feeling off, lowtcenter.com is where you need to go. You can get started with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, and join lots of guys who are going through the same thing as you. Now, you know that they've got clinics all over Nashville, right? And they're really easy to get to. You walk in, you see a real medical provider, you get that energy back. No complicated process, just results. And remember, these treatment plans, they are tailor-made just for you. Now, you can get treatments at the clinic or you can be treated at home. But either way, you're always going to get the highest quality of care. Now, right now, in the month of April, you can get a free consultation. And if you qualify, treatment is covered by most major medical insurance. So reclaim that energy and become you again. By the way, they can also help with prescription weight loss options as well. So head on over to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That is lowtcenter.com. Simple, quick, and totally worth it. Thank you, Joan. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee, it can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter. Now, they are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. Now, they're not going to leave you in the dark. Financing is available. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. Online, GeneratorSupercenterofNashville.com.
Well, we still have some problems this morning on 24, now in the downtown area, eastbound side at Shelby Avenue, a crash that takes out the right shoulder. In the Nations, Briley Parkway at I-40 West, there's a crash reported there. In Berry Hill, a crash that blocks off the right shoulder on 440 eastbound right at I-65. And then in Madison, Tennessee 45 at Myatt Drive, a crash there involving some injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.837, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into the handoff, crisscross handoff.
What do you got?
I have clearly nothing this morning. It's been a rough day.
You've been a little behind schedule here, huh?
Well, you know what happens, right? The boss is away.
Yep.
And everybody around here knows what happens when the boss is away because I experienced it for like 10 years.
This is why I had a Kanye segment.
You're lucky
yesterday.
people showed up.
Everybody misbehaves. By the way, that Kanye segment.
Yeah.
Cringe.
That was weird.
That was weird. I mean, I'm not saying that
what
you were weird.
My
but
segment was weird?
Just no, the whole
the
thing
content
in general
was weird.
Yeah.
The whole Kanye thing is weird.
It's a wild story.
Do you think it's real or do you think he's messing with people?
I think that there's a few options. Either he's doing this to become a victim after everything that's gone on in the media, and that could very well be the case. He's trying to get around something that somebody was trying to blackmail him with, which could definitely be the case.
Yep.
Or he's this manic bipolar guy who just has no problem splurging out and saying whatever comes to mind.
You know, it could be all of the above.
It could.
I mean, it's the same. He did say slavery is a choice, so the guy's clearly not all there.
Well, and definitely the last part does apply to Kanye.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. So, but we're still in morning drive, so we can't really talk about what that whole thing is. Just Google Kanye. Knock yourself out.
You're in for a rabbit hole like no other.
Have you heard this John Legend thing?
No, so I haven't heard the John Legend, but I'm excited about this. This is what messed up your day.
Yes, because the first voice I heard today was John Legend saying this.
America made a decision that I strongly disagree with, and it seems that we are reaping the whirlwind right now, putting someone who is a terrible leader, especially in crisis. He's already out blaming people, misinforming people, dividing people, when a smart and responsible and good political way to handle it would have been to bring people together.
Oh, absolutely. That's what you want.
Be a comforter in chief, you know?
Why do you think that he's latched on to diversity so much?
Oh, he's a bigot, so. It's a belief that there's a hierarchy of racial groups and that his group is superior, genetically superior.
Wow.
He believes that.
Right.
Whenever he talks about competence and qualifications, any white man will do for him. Look at the last guy who was Secretary of Defense. He was a 4-star general, supremely qualified black man. And then see who he puts in after him. That's the level of bigotry that he has. Any white man is better than that.
So let's just go ahead and start dissecting this piece by piece, shall we? First of all, he's at some sort of DEI thing, but let's point out the hypocrisy. And by the way, this dude, John Legend, if you don't know who he is, by the way, some people are saying, everybody knows who John Legend is, Dan. Other people saying, who's John Legend? So
everybody knows Dan. Who is he, Dan? Tell us.
Yes. So he's a singer. He's one of these, we need to always spread love and sunshine and, but let's just point out the hypocrisy one by one.
To bring people together.
Oh, absolutely. That's what you want.
Be a comforter in chief,
So the guy that is saying, Trump should be bringing people together is the guy that is literally calling Donald Trump Hitler.
Yep. And he wants Trump to be the comforter in chief when the last guy was looking at his watch while they were unloading caskets.
Was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. And his party and his side are the ones that are literally firebombing Tesla dealerships.
Yes. Mostly peaceful firebombing.
They refuse to condemn the assassination culture where they will actually justify murdering Donald Trump and Elon Musk or harassing people that they disagree with. I just played audio a few minutes ago of Jasmine Crockett calling Elon Musk sinister. His side, the left, has tried to take out Donald Trump not once but twice with assassination attempts. And yes, his side basically, and he's doing it now, is calling Donald Trump Hitler. They've been doing it for years now. And by extension, his supporters are all Nazis and
trash, deplorables,
baskets of deplorables, and the rest of that. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands the hypocrisy of John Legend. And here's more of what he said.
Oh, he's a bigot. So it's a belief that there's a hierarchy of racial groups and that his group is superior, genetically superior. He believes that.
I would like to know, what proof does John Legend have that Donald Trump believes that white people are genetically superior? What proof does he have?
He doesn't.
Joan? KGB? Anybody?
Nope, I haven't heard any.
I wish I was sitting there. I just give me the example. Give me one specific example, and I will believe you. But he wouldn't.
The number of people that surround him that are black is incredible. So it's obviously not true based on the people that he surrounds himself with.
He has called Donald Trump a dyed-in-the-wool racist. And I got to tell you, this whole, MAGA is white supremacy. I don't know about you guys, but man, it is so tired.
Yeah.
It is so tired.
Well, and it's made white supremacy lose all meaning. It's just become wallpaper. So
well,
now
just like the racist.
Yeah, when you're dealing with a real racist or a real white supremacist, it's it goes over our heads because we hear it all the time.
I think John Legend, I think it's obvious that he lives in his own little echo chamber, and he has no idea. Because let's all be honest. I mean, Donald Trump got, what did he double the amount of black support that he got in 2016, and then even more from 2020. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know that he has doubled and multiplied his support from the black community. Now, John Legend, let's be honest, he is entitled to his opinion, and he is free to speak, what little mind he seems to have, no matter how ignorant he sounds.
Any white man will do for him. Look at the last guy who was Secretary of Defense. He was a 4-star general, supremely qualified black man.
Right, so...
The guy that dipped out on his responsibilities because he had to have surgery and he didn't tell anybody.
And presided over the failed pullout of Afghanistan. This dude, Lloyd Austin, was an absolute embarrassment.
Absolutely.
Clear breach of protocol when what'd you say, dipped out? Is that what you said?
He dipped out.
Is that a thing? All right, dipping out. So he dipped out of his...
Irish exited his
Irish
responsibilities.
Exited. Yeah. With apologies to all you Irishmen, but you're probably drunk, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
We'd worry about you guys if you weren't hammered already.
Just so we're clear, I'm kidding on the whole drunk part.
I'm not. I thought that was a matter of public record.
By the way, just a couple of notes, because I was so irritated this morning. I put down a bunch of notes. I want to make sure I get to them.
Yeah, let's hit the notes.
Let's also remember that Lloyd Austin allowed the military to grow weaker and weaker as he's implementing all of that DEI nonsense. And then there was the spy balloon that he allowed to fly over the country. So you see how just John Legend is just, I don't know what else to say about him. And I guess his wife is a Chrissy Teigen. She is a known...
Chrissy.
What's her name?
Chrissy Teigen.
Chrissy Teigen?
Yeah.
She's the worst.
Is she?
A lot of people think that she's a
Mean
pedophile
girl.
because of all these weird tweets that she posted.
Yeah.
Oh,
She went through and deleted all of them. She deleted thousands of tweets one day.
Oh, did she really?
They were all really weird jokes.
Well, she's a bully. Everybody knows that she's a bully.
She's a bully. She's a mean girl.
She is a mean girl. All right, now, you have something. He's going to take my John Legend and raise me up to Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, I'm going to see your John Legend. I'm going to raise you a Rosie O'Donnell. Yesterday, she was on CNN, and the craziest thing happened. She said as soon as she read Project 2025, that's when she knew she would have to flee America with her non-binary child.
Yes, as you know, some people entertain the idea of moving abroad after the 2024 election. You actually did it. Tell us about your experience so far, and do you have any regrets?
I have no regrets. Not a day has gone by that I thought it was the wrong decision. I was welcomed with open arms. I knew after reading Project 2025 that if Trump got in, it was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country. Wow. And although I was not one of the celebrities who announced that that's what I would do, I made the decision within my family and my therapist. And should he win, and then when he did, we made the plan into action. And we.
Can I just point out, how would you like to be Rosie O'Donnell's child, where you're not, the daughter of Rosie O'Donnell, you're the non-binary child?
Yeah.
How would you like to be known as that?
Can we also talk about the statistic impossibility of being a lesbian with a non-binary child?
Yeah.
And she's talking.
Some people would call that Munchausen syndrome.
Now, and she's got, she's talking about her therapist, and, she spoke to her therapist and all these other things. It's like, she is just a complete train wreck, is she not, Rosie O'Donnell?
The therapist was like, yes, please go to another country.
Please go.
Go.
Your
money isn't worth it.
Your money's good, but your mind is warped.
We were gone before he was inaugurated.
You've been a longtime critic of this Trump administration and a target of President Trump for that matter as well. What has it been like watching the last few months unfold from abroad?
It's been heartbreaking, I have to tell you. I knew that if I was in the United States and watched him destroy the country and the Constitution and really pay no mind to any of the laws that the founders stood by and that our country stands for as a beacon of shining light and freedom for the rest of the world, that should he do what the Heritage Foundation said he was going to do in that Project 2025, that we were going to be in big trouble. And it's as bad as they promised and even a little bit worse. And it's been heartbreaking and personally very, very sad to watch.
She's upset that they're deporting all these gangbangers.
We ought to deport them to, where is she? Ireland?
Yeah.
We ought to send them to Ireland. Go live with Rosie.
Spoiler alert, they already are.
It's crazy that CNN or whoever Wolf Blitzer's like scouring these days, their only level of entertainment or informative person is Rosie O'Donnell.
This is true.
And also Wolf Blitzer had the lowest score ever on Jeopardy, just for the record.
He what?
He was on Celebrity Jeopardy. It was like negative $15,000 he ended up with. So he actually owed the charity the charity owed him money, basically, is how bad he did.
Okay. Very good.
He's an idiot.
I've never been a big Wolf Blitzer fan, but Jeopardy is like...
Well, factually, he is an idiot because if you're not good on Jeopardy, and you think you were smart enough, then that's your own fault.
Got it. Okay. Very good. Well, whatever. I'm no big fan of Wolf Blitzer for any number of reasons.
Got it.
Yeah. I've never really seen Jeopardy, to be honest with you.
Never watched it?
No. And don't get me wrong. I'm Alex Trebek, right?
Yeah.
I used to love it when he was on.
Yeah. Listen, Alex Trebek is amazing. And I never watched it. Just so many things I haven't. Well, but of course, I also said today that all barbecue tastes the same.
This is true.
This is
What an insane comment.
In the South, you said that, which is like that is.
We got to bring you to the Slick Pig in Murfreesboro.
Or the Slick Pig.
Or Porky's Pit in Manchester.
Or Porky's Pit in Manchester.
You have like 20 or 40 different options from the chat. So
yeah. I had to get on and I had to make an apology to all the barbecue aficionados out there.
We should do a big event where we have a barbecue contest. Like we do it somewhere like Hop Springs, and they bring all the food trucks, and then you can be the judge.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine that?
Everybody wins. All of this tastes the same.
All right. So can you tell the difference between By the way, just so we're clear, some people actually agreed with me that all barbecue basically tastes the same.
That's not true. That's not true. It's not.
Is that fake news?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm spewing is fake news?
In fact, some places shouldn't be allowed legally to sell barbecue.
Because what they call barbecue is...
Yes.
Oof.
Like you get baby back ribs from Chili's? No. That should be outlawed.
Are you the one that somebody said, no, I think it was Murphy's show, don't let preference become fact.
What do you mean?
Was that you?
No, that's a Murphy.
Is that a Murphyism?
That's a Murphyism. Oh,
yeah.
Yep, speaking of Murphy.
So, yeah. So my preference is that all barbecue tastes the same.
Murphy texts me and goes, if Dan has never watched Jeopardy, how does he know Alex Trebek is amazing? # pandering.
I saw clips. And Vanna White was great on Jeopardy.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm kidding.
We know. It's a subtle troll.
Yeah. All right, so, you want a subtle troll? I don't think Murphy's show was up yet, but...
you said his name 3 times.
I have a gift that I'm going to leave for Murphy's show.
Do you?
I'm cleaning out. I got like a litany of coffee cups, and I found a coffee cup from Buc-ee's.
Oh.
And Amy and I were debating whether or not, because you remember the whole Buc-ee's controversy, right?
Yes.
I said something about how Buc-ee's was a truck stop, and
people were very upset.
People were very upset with me.
We had a protest in front of the building.
So Murphy was leading the charge. Murphy had pitchforks. He had a pitchfork in one hand and a torch in the other.
With a sign, Dan must go.
Yes, that's exactly right. And Dan must go with his third arm. So anyway, I have this Buc-ee's coffee mug that I think that I'm going to give to Murphy.
That's very nice of you.
Don't you think that'd be a great little subtle troll?
I like it.
His opening monologue is going to be one for the ages.
Listen, I love Matt Murphy, and I think that, I think that he would like a Buc-ee's coffee mug, and I'm going to give it to him because I have affection for Matt Murphy.
Matt Murphy is the #1 afternoon host on this station.
Way to go, Idaho. That was good.
From 3 to 7. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nobody better. Nobody better.
All right, moving around. But just so we're clear, we all love Matt Murphy.
Of course.
Yes. That text, was that to you or to both of us?
He said it to me.
So that text is precisely why I love Matt Murphy so much.
Yep.
He's incredible. All right. We're going to end today's radio broadcast with this ad. I played it early in the 5 o'clock hour. This is an ad produced by the Senate Republicans for the Democrats.
Welcome to El Salvador, home to breathtaking sunsets, world-class surf breaks, and gangbanger Kilmer Abrego Garcia. El Salvador is the destination for Democrats seeking the thrill of bringing violent criminal illegal aliens back to America. Come witness Trump derangement syndrome in its purest form. From Chris Van Hollen to Cory Booker. You may even see John Ossoff. So what are you waiting for, Senate Democrats? Join your colleagues and step into the rhythm of rescue today.
And you can see that on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. Very funny. And I don't know if you have this story, Chris. The Republicans in the House are willing to send the Democrats to El Salvador, pay for the trip, if they'll live stream it, take a lot of video, take a lot of pictures, because what could be better than all those House Democrats hanging out with Kilmer Abrego Garcia having margaritas?
I mean, I could think of a couple things better. Maybe doing some things for their actual constituents.
Exactly. Well, we were talking earlier, actually, Joan, her senator was Van Hollen. And is that right, Van Hollen?
Van Hollen.
Mm-hmm. Van Hollen.
Ready to hear Joan get angry?
Yeah.
I heard she voted for Van Hollen.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
She thought she was voting for Van Halen. It turned out to be Van Hollen.
She was fundraising. She held the sign on the street corner
Sure,
and everything.
I did.
This is slander.
So, but I mean, somebody asked the question on the Super Text line, and it is a really good question, which is how many of his actual constituents would be able to call him right now and say, "Hey, I'd like to have a margarita"?
Probably zero.
So
maybe a dangria.
I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do that either. All right, whatever. What do you got coming up?
Today on the show, we have Jason Whitlock. He's going to be joining right after the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. Jason Whitlock will be in studio. Then we have State Representative Monty Fritz at 10 a.m. talk about the legislative session.
Jason's going to be here?
Yeah, Jason's going to be here. Do you want to meet him?
I've already met Jason Whitlock.
Okay, sorry, dude.
I
was trying to do something nice.
No, I met him at a thing.
Oh, did you?
And I was like, dude, I love your podcast and all this kind of stuff.
And he said,
"We're geeking out." Yeah.
I think it was like a little too much love, bro. You know what? That's kind of the vibe that I got from Jason Whitlock.
Did you try to give him a hug?
Settle down.
I did not. I got the settle down vibe from Jason Whitlock. I think I'm a big fan of his, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah, we love Jason. He's going to be in here after 9. I'm happy to reintroduce you if you want to have a second chance at a first impression.
Probably not.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
fair.
I still feel bad for the first time. Moving right along.
Jason Whitlock, Monty Fritz, and more.
Besides, he's going to bring his people.
Oh, you know what?
The security people.
I think that he actually, he's got my picture printed and his people all have it on their phones and stuff. And it's like, yeah, if you see this guy, just keep him away, man. Keep him away. It's all right, Jason. I got it.
He has very sweaty palms when he shakes hands.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
All right, Joan, what's coming up?
So Wall Street is rocking right now. We'll tell you what's behind the latest surge in stocks. That's coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mendes here from my carpet cleaning company, Zero Res. Now, I've been a client for years and years, and one big reason is that they really do help my allergies. Now, carpet is the #1 air filter inside your home, and what it does is it filters out airborne particulates and pollen and bacteria. You name it, Zero Res is going to filter out the bad stuff so you can keep your filter clean, your carpet. Now, Zero Res does this better than anyone. They don't use any harsh chemicals. They don't use any harsh soaps, just powered water that leaves behind soft and fluffy carpets. Now, remember, a clean filter means a healthier home. Here in allergy season, it is critical for you and your family. Now, I keep saying this because it is true. Zero Res, they have not raised their prices in years, and every month a new offer to save you money. Now, this month, 2 rooms of carpets cleaned for $109, and you are going to get a free hallway cleaned. Again, 2 rooms of carpets cleaned for just $109, and you are going to get a free hallway cleaned as well, and 25% off of area rugs. Call them, tell them you want the Dan deal, 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com.